Hello and welcome back to another episode of Now That's Debatable with myself, Sidney Smith, my two brothers here, Deon Curry in the middle, and our big brother there, Mr. Almighty, Big Brother Almighty, Warren B. Hall over there on the opposite end. What's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good,
You
good,
go
good,
first
good.
this time. I always jump in first. You go first this time. How you
No,
doing,
No, I
Dion?
love you going first, sir.
Oh,
You're the big brother. You're the leader of the group. We follow your every marching order, sir. And I am just here to be a good soldier to my two brothers. I am doing
none of that is true,
fantastic.
but thank you. So
All right.
believable. I almost believed half of it.
That was such good acting. That is awesome. Hey, everybody, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Now That's Debatable. You guys know normally your Mondays don't get cracking till we get cracking, but tonight, again, 2 weeks in a row, your Wednesday is cracking. So look out. You are lucky to have us on Hump Day. Hump Day it is. All right. I don't know why I did that.
Before we get started, I don't know why you did that either. Before you get started, I want to wish Warren a happy birthday again. His birthday was over the weekend, and I just want to tell you, brother, I love you to death. I'm so happy that I met you all those years ago, and I'm glad that you got another trip around the sun, and I'm hoping for many, many more, man. I love you, brother.
Thanks, man. Thanks. You
Well,
continue to impress me. Thank you, man.
so yeah, if I could just finish the intro and then we can all come back, we can we can all
Patting each other on the back.
right. We can hug Dion or we can hug Warren at the same time. Dion, you ain't got it ain't a race, motherfucker. So thank you guys for joining us. All of our people who are joining us tonight on Facebook Live. Victoria, I see you jumping in. What's going on there, pretty lady? Thank you and Jake for joining us. Thank everybody else who's going to jump on with us as well. Also, shout out to our podcast listeners on Apple, iHeart, Spotify, so on and so forth. We love you too. Please, the best thing you could do for us is just shoot a quick link, share the link to the show with another friend who wants to listen to three dope dudes, three dope black dudes talk about politics and everything under the sun, and even fight every once in a while. So if you guys are into that, this would be a great show for you. And want to show some love to our podcast, our Patreon folks out there. Shannis, Katie Horgan, Cammy, and Kathleen. And now Miss Susie is one of our Patreons as well. So I'm not sure if she's on yet, but shout
Very
out to you,
cool.
Miss Susie. Thank you
Excellent.
for jumping in there and supporting the show. We do appreciate it. With all that said, Deanna, you done, hugging Warren on the show, or is there anything?
I'll never be done giving big ups to my brother.
Oh
So
my God!
I will let you jump in.
Do I have any kissy sound effects at all? So, no, I'm right there with Dion. Happy Father's Day to my big brother here, and happy birthday to you. I love you as well. I'm glad that you survived another year in America, as black as you are. It can't be easy. So, so
Well, we were indoors for most of the year, so if they hear me, I'm usually all right.
right.
Outdoors is dangerous.
No,
Dangerous outdoors.
absolutely nothing but love. One of my favorite people in the entire planet for sure. And that's that. So enough love to Warren. It's time to let's fight on the show now if we disagree on anything. Hey, everybody out there, don't forget, go ahead and give us your comments if you have any. If you agree with us or don't agree, we also want to see those emojis as well, if you don't mind throwing those up there for us. I see right now, it looks like we got about 5 sets of eyeballs on us. Hopefully we get a few more. If not, we're going to roll with the show. We know how it is. It's Wednesday. We didn't do it on the day that we're supposed to, so that is on us. Victoria says, all hugs from me too. Happy birthday, Warren B. Hall. And then she says,
Thank you.
wow, with the crying emojis over there. So I got a laughing over there. I got a laughing crying emoji from out of Victoria. All right. With all that said, let's jump into the show real quick. First we got, and this is Warren's topic. And when I say Warren's topic, Warren threw this out on the thread. He said, hey, look at this. What about this? As Warren does. Warren's very subtle when he has ideas. He never calls me. He never gives a whole explanation. He just sends something and just leaves it out there as a, do with it what you will. So, but he's also the silent assassin. And I'm pretty sure if I don't take his idea on, he's got a whole little notch.
He does know how to fly drones.
He does.
do. I'm pretty good with the drone.
Right, right. So, what's up, Rachel Conrad? Thank you for joining us. She says, "Hi, guys. What's going on? Good to see you." Victoria says her birthday is coming up on Sunday. She'll be 37. Victoria,
Okay.
I just saw you a few weeks ago. You don't look a day over 25, girl. So you're doing well. Hang in there. Keep doing what you're doing. All right.
Old as dirt.
All right. So 5 days ago, a lot of people may have seen it. Some of you may not have seen it. There was a black man that went viral when he was speaking about critical race theory at a school board meeting. And it went viral because a lot of what he was saying was against critical race theory. He talked about his children and he wouldn't teach his kids that and how he has 2 medical degrees and how dare people think that I would ever allow a white person, a white man, tell me what I can and can't do. White people are not going to keep you from doing anything. White people are not looking to keep you from doing anything. There's a lot of other things he said in there, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. Before I turn it over to Deon real quick, because normally we start with Warren, then Deon, then myself. We're going to start with Deon on this one. But before we do, there's a couple of things. And I was talking to Deon about this in the pre-show meeting. I said, there's something I have to expose myself about when I bring this topic up. I like to think of myself as a pretty smart guy who always looks at everything inside and out. I did not do my due diligence on this one. Don't be shaking your head at me over there like you're shaking off pitches. But I did not do my due diligence on this one because what I found today when I was looking at it was that this man is the host of a conservative show. His name is Ty Smith. He's a conservative host of a show on YouTube, and both his children are nearly adults. 2 of them are nearly adult grown men. It made what he was saying, for me anyway, all the less important once that was kind of divulged. Well, I shouldn't say divulged, once I found that in my own investigation. From there, I want to go ahead and let Deon jump out, kind of explain to all of us critical race theory, because I'm sure everyone's not up on it, and then to our podcast listeners who may be listening, hopefully, as well, what critical race theory exactly is, and then we'll jump into the topic from there. And as always, we want to hear the comments from you guys, Victoria, Jessica, Rachel, Facebook user, and everyone else who's watching. Deon, go ahead and take it away.
So, according to Google, critical race theory is an academic movement of civil rights scholars and activists in the United States who seek to critically examine the law as it intersects with issues of race and to challenge mainstream liberal approaches to racial justice. So, the key word in that whole sentence was law. The legal discrimination of non-whites in America for X amount of years up until the civil rights movement, where we got that finally changed. So when we talk about critical race theory, first I want people to know it's not a theory. Like it's a well-known documented thing. It's not a theory. We don't have Bunsen burners going. There's nobody in the lab going, I think this might be. No, it's documented. It's lived. It's real experience. So I don't even like the term theory. If you can't handle having a conversation about the role in which racism has played in the lives of your fellow American citizens, you don't get to call yourself a patriot. You don't get to ignore the problems of your own country because they benefit you to ignore them and then call yourself a patriot. If you love America so much, how can you say that you're going to ignore the problems that are bred right here at home? If you're more upset about 9/11 than you are about the institutional racism that we have in this country, you really, really need to take a hard look at yourself and figure out why that is. How is it that you can see the Taliban as a greater threat to America than the hate we have here at home already? So I really want people to understand that the idea of examining the laws that we've had on the books and their impact on Americans versus other Americans in this country is not a threat to any human being as far as their well-being is concerned. The only thing it does is it challenges your idea of where your belief system comes from. And I think that's the most important part of it is people need to understand where they got their beliefs from and who taught them to them and why they taught them to them.
And before we go to Warren on this topic, I want to remind people that above our three heads there's a link. If you guys want to jump in, we would love for you guys to jump in on this topic or anything else we start discussing here, and share your thoughts with us. For those of you who've done it before, seen it done before, you jump in. We have a nice conversation with you. We may even throw some questions your way and keep you on a little bit and let you be a part of the show. So we want you to do that if you feel so inclined. But remember, you will be seen by everyone who's watching right now. So have your bathrobe on or whatever, because we all can see all your business. Warren, your thoughts on this topic?
As Deon pointed out, it was the word theory that it didn't even catch it. I didn't catch it until Deon had said something about it earlier and how it bothered him, and it shouldn't be taught like it's new. It's history. This is stuff that's already happened. It happened in the past. Everything in the past is history, so it should be taught as history. And there are times, and it does happen, of course, currently. But the word theory means questionable. It means maybe. That's why it's a theory. Who ate your cookies at work? I have a theory. It was, well, it was eaten. You're just not sure who did it. So the word theory really threw me there. The guy he reminded me of you a little bit, Sidney, only because you're a pull yourself up by your bootstraps type person. And I think that's what he was trying to say. But I also felt like he said himself he would continue to debunk. If they taught this in schools, he would go around continuing to debunk what they're saying, which means he's saying it's not true at all. It's not true in his life. It's not true with him, which I'm happy for him. But surely he knows people who caught their brunt plus his brunt plus somebody else's, because I know I've got enough for me and a couple other people. So you can't say it's not a theory. It's something that happened. So that was the main big part of it that got me.
Yeah, and I get where you're saying what you're saying, Warren, because I'm a pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of guy. But when it comes to race, and I'm not going to say I'm this across the board because we had the conversation about the $15 minimum wage raise and so on and so forth. When it comes to this, I make the allowance for, because this is a systemic situation in terms of race in this country, that it cannot always be a pull. I want everyone out there of color to want to do that. I want everyone of color to do that and to succeed. But that does not mean I will overlook that there is a systemic issue in this country. And anytime there's a light trying to be cast on it, and I didn't grow up during the 60s. I wasn't there with the dogs and the water hoses and everything. So I'm hesitant to say this, but I feel like this is sometimes a new version of that. Anytime there's any discussion where we want to shine a light on all of American history, there's this pushback. Why should certain things be taught that are complete lies, such as Christopher Columbus discovered America? We still have a Christopher Columbus Day, and that is something that is celebrated in terms of everyone gets the fucking day off. And this is something that should be pushed back on. This goes back to, and this is going to bring up a question I'm going to throw to you guys and to our master debaters. It is always about how you communicate things to these people. And when I say these people, I'm not talking about all the white people. I'm talking about that group of people that are so willing to, again, to use the term again, push back on anything that is not about them or looks like them. So what way, and I know what Deon is going to say, so let me go ahead and I'm assuming what Deon is going to say. Deon does not think there should be any change giving to the message or to the messaging. I'm one who says we always have to figure out how we're going to approach this situation with those people. You know, we can never look like we're asking for something, because the minute we look like we're asking for something, it becomes an issue. Now, all we're asking for, again, using the word that I hate to use, is for that the next generation coming up be taught certain things. And
if I could jump in before you go to Deon, only
ahead.
because you use the word, we don't want to look like we're asking.
That's what I said. I caught myself.
No, but I'm saying,
okay.
I'm going, I know white people who feel like they're unhappy with Black Lives Matter because they feel they're demanding things of white people. So my question is, if we're not asking, Are we asserting, or are you saying we're demanding?
I'm saying the issue always lies with them because they can always formulate however they want to formulate whatever we're trying to say to them. So you can come across saying, "Hey, could you pass me the butter?" But if I don't want to pass you this butter, I can say you're asking me it however I want to say you're asking me. Why you demanding I pass you the butter? That's not what I said. I just asked you if you would pass me the butter. No, I don't like the way you said it. And I feel like that's what we run into each and every time we're trying to get something across to that group of people. Now, they don't want white kids, their kids, taught anything in terms of slavery and part of the real history of this country, which is just completely asinine to me that you want to pick and choose what you want to learn and what that child should learn and ignore all the rest of it. You guys want to go ahead and take it, Deon?
So you're asking me, how do we get the message across without seeming like we're asking for
I'm,
something?
I'm asking both of you, is there a way to do it? If
No, you cannot make people do something they don't want to do. They have to decide for themselves. And this is the biggest issue that we've come across in this country. You can't make anybody change. You can show them why change is necessary, but they have to decide whether or not they want to change or not. I can't change your mind. I can present you with a new set of options, and then you get to make that choice. But I physically can't do anything to you other than give you more information that you didn't have before, and now you have a new option as far as your choices go. So again, this is why I said a few episodes ago that this is not a black people problem, it's a white people problem. They created this issue. They created a separate but equal system, and I'm using quote fingers for the people on the podcast. They created this. And now it's come back to bite them in the ass because it's not a system that you can maintain when you preach equality and we're all the same and one nation under God, blah, 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 right? At some point, the chickens come home to roost and you got to feed them. And here we are, 2021, and we're still dealing with the same issues that they created years ago. So how do black people convince white people who never meet any black people, who don't know what systemic racism is about? How do we convince them that it exists without making it seem like we're trying to demand something from them? And all I can say to them is this: if you hear the same story for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years, and you don't do any investigation whatsoever into why you keep hearing this same story from millions of different people all across the country, then you are what we're talking about. That person sitting on the fence, not willing to investigate, do they have a point? Do I have an open mind? Am I one of those people? Do I have inherent biases that I need to address? Well, why are they telling me that I'm this when I know for a fact I'm not? Well, how can you know for a fact if you've never had any experience whatsoever with the things that you're being accused of? You can't. So to all those people, I encourage, again, meet somebody who is an opposite mind of you, who has had opposite experiences of you, and just have a conversation and turn off your defenses. If you feel in your heart you're not a racist person, then the truth will show and it will speak. Whenever racism comes up, your actions will speak. So you won't have to defend yourself.
Warren?
I don't. I'm trying to think. I don't want to say they. I'm trying to think who they is in this situation. Whenever someone lies to you, you then have to replay everything they told you because you found out that they lied about this. For instance, we found out Trump knew about the thing a little longer than he said he knew about the thing, so then you had to rethink of some other stuff with him and other things he said. Well, the country as a whole, when I say they, I guess I mean whites who were in control, who taught us everything. They taught us everything. They took us from where we were at and said, learn English, learn about God, learn about everything, right? So you can say they taught us. That's factual. So these are people who've lied about the most basic of things, such as when we were kids in history books, they would show you a map of the world, and they purposely made America look bigger than it really is. So we looked more for whatever reason they did it. They did it. It's factual. They've done it. Our country is technically smaller, but they tried to make us as big as Russia. They tried to make us as big as these other countries. So it's like if you guys, like I always joke and say, you can't get three guys to tell the truth about their penis size. How are we supposed to believe anything else you're saying? Well, you guys already are lying about the size of the country. Now, I mention that because people look at like, well, why would they lie? I don't know why they would lie, but these are things they've done in the past. So if they're willing,
Yes, you do. You do. You do know why they would lie.
Well,
I say for control. That's what my answer would be. Why would they lie? Was for control, for dominance, to get you to think what I want you to believe.
I would also say, and I'm getting ready to go to the master debaters, but I want to say this real quick. I would also say the people who are standing there pushing back, those parents, the ass load of them around the country. We see them at these board meetings, and it's not all white parents. So I don't want to say that. Anyone who's listening, if you're someone listening on the podcast or watching right now, I and neither one of my brothers here are saying all of you. So don't be offended. And that would be great. That would go along with what Deon said. Don't be offended, listen, and go from there. But I would say those who are pushing back, they are well aware that this systemic situation exists. The problem for us, not for them, but for us, is that they don't care because it doesn't affect them. So why should I have to have this pressed upon me and pressed upon my child? This will never affect her. Now, if they were teaching something in school about how to keep young girls from getting raped when they go off to college, I don't think you would not have one parent who was pushing back on that, because I'm planning for my little girl to go to college. So yeah, teach that. This doesn't apply to them, so they don't care. It doesn't matter to them. This is not something that will ever affect my child, and that's why they push back on it. And that's a terrible thing, and that goes back to that whole me thing that we talk about on the show often. Jessica says, "Hey guys, my birthday is tomorrow." Jessica, happy early birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday,
We'll have to keep a mind out for that so we can make sure we give you a shout out on your birthday though. But thank you for sharing that. And happy early birthday. Facebook user, if you would click that link, not the one that will allow you to be on the show, but there's another link you can click that will allow me to see your name and your face. I don't know who this is, but I'm going to read your comment. Carlos, what's up, man? Thank you for joining us. Carlos says, remember, black don't crack extends to my fellow Hispanics as well. Just watch the Spanish channel. All right. Okay. Let's see. Cassandra says, happy almost birthday. All right. Kathleen says, hey guys, coming in a little late from the baseball game. Kathleen, thanks for joining us. Someone says, Jesus, I made it. Someone else says,
that's Jess.
Hey, Jess.
From Stereo.
Oh, okay. Jess, click that link. There's two links above our three heads here. One that will allow you to join us. There's another link, if you click that, will allow us to see an emoji of you, your face, or whatever, and let us see your name. So if you would click that and give the permissions, I would appreciate it. Then someone says they're deeply scared. Is that Jess as well?
Yep.
All right. I would agree with that to a certain extent. I think they're deeply something. I don't know about scared. I just think they deeply don't care. Cammy says, hey, y'all, I'm excited to catch a bit of the show tonight. Thank you, Cammy, for joining us. It's been a minute since I've seen your name up in lights. I like this one. Someone says, I love this young generation because they aren't asking for nothing. They're taking it. Our generation is always asking. This young generation is teaching themselves better than their parents. We just have to keep putting the info out there, and the kids will find it and educate themselves. And I'm with you to a certain extent. If you're saying taking it, and I want to send this around to the three of us as well. If you mean that they're taking it in terms of they don't care about anything that's before them in terms of those parameters, those racial parameters that have existed, I would say you are right. But I would push back and say these kids are not into the real world yet. And once you get into the real world shit happens and things start to change, even down to the most basic of things, voting. If these kids turn into people who vote, they may very well, depending on what the system looks like when they get to it, they may very well fall back into the same line that the generations before them have. Because when you look at voting, and we've talked about this a million times, most people vote with their pocketbooks. What matters to me? What matters to my family? What's going to put more money in my bank account, in my wallet? not what's going to always be good for the masses. Warren, what's your thoughts on that? As far as this next
Sorry,
generation coming up.
I was letting know a cruise booker know I'm on a podcast, but I want that work.
Okay, all right, Deon, you need to go. Deon, go. Somebody, Warren, are you ready? You need Deon to go.
Oh, something. The last thing you were saying about how people are believing this, the pushback.
In terms of the next generation, do
I
you
had
think
something.
they'll
Oh,
always?
on that.
Yeah.
I think it's good, but like we talked about before, it's hard to fully move forward when everybody is still thinking about, because you go, I forgive you, but I haven't forgotten. So sometimes because of old arguments I've had with the wife, I'm thinking maybe she meant this and she really had moved past it. She wasn't thinking that. But because I can't forget that this happened, it does affect how you make certain choices. But the best thing to do would be, if we're past this one, whatever this is, whatever it is, whether it's, I don't like you put salt on pizza, whatever it is, if we're stepping by it, step by it. And it's hard for people to do, especially as a country, as a polarized country. So,
Deon?
yeah.
I think you said the key world. It's like these young people aren't into the real world. Let's talk about the real world. Why is the real world the way it is? And why have we accepted it as such? You know, who's in charge of the real world? There's a reason why our last president was who he was, and he got in how he got in. There's a reason for that. And so you can't deny all these things and then say, oh, but, you know, this doesn't happen in the real world, because it does. And that's the point that we've all been trying to make. It's like, why are you not recognizing what we all know to be true, yet for some reason, when it's presented to you, you deny it as if you have no idea what we're talking about.
There was a clip from the 50s, and it was blacks were marching, and this young, clean-cut white kid. I could see by his demeanor, he truly believed everything he was saying, and he was saying, I don't see what the problem is. I don't see why these blacks are making trouble. And I remember thinking, I couldn't believe he couldn't see why they were making trouble. It seems so obvious to me, but he truly believed it. So it's like, how do you get to those that think they're looking at it and they're just not seeing it? I guess that's the big question.
I would say, using him as the example and those like him, and this is, I guess, this is where I'm agreeing with Deon. I believe I'm agreeing with Deon. You can't get me to believe that you don't see what we all see. What it is you don't care because it doesn't affect you. Now, going back to the 50s, if black people were coming through your neighborhood hanging white people for no reason at all, or for whatever offense that they wanted to create, or whatever minor offense that you said they did, I'm sure that young man would see the problem.
Most definitely.
But because it's not happening to you, it doesn't matter to you. You see it. You know you see it. Those parents, again, going back to them, you know that's systemic racism, but you're on the other end, so it doesn't affect you. Look at what happened with Donald Trump being in office and how the people that Donald Trump spoke to. Those people had no problems with anything when the factories were open, when they were making $30, $40 an hour with a high school education, when Mexicans that they talk about coming over the border weren't taking jobs, if you will, when black people weren't improving, and the black person wasn't driving past your neighborhood to the suburbs. It used to be you driving past the black neighborhoods to the suburbs. When all that started to change, now there's a problem. But when it was you that was on top, or you perceived yourself to be on top, there was no issue at all. But now there's an issue. And that's why we got what we got on January 6th. That's why you got who voted Donald Trump in. That's why you have 45% of the country agreeing with everything that idiot says about Jewish lasers and anything else. Because now it's a problem for you. And until it's a problem for everyone, I don't know how we get it for everyone across the board. That's why I talk about these young kids who I love, because they don't care about anything. And I hope they can hang on to that. But Deon makes a good point, because when you talk about the real world and where these kids are eventually going to have to step into, the real world is ran by that top 1% that runs everything on this planet. I don't care if you do or don't believe in the Illuminati or whatever organization that you want to believe in. There is one group of people that runs everything on this planet. and it's that top 1%. And that's what I'm talking about. These young people when they step into the real world. That is the real world where the parameters are drawn by that top 1% that exists on this planet. The Jeff Bezos who has so fucking much money. I don't know what to do with it. I could give some of it away, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build a rocket ship and take my ass up to space. Because there's nothing else I could imagine I would do with my billions of dollars that I have that I could swim around in like Scrooge fucking McDuck. There's nothing else
I'm
I
not
can
going to
think
let you. I'm not going to let you fly in my spaceship for free either.
of.
And I got the money that I could do it.
Right.
So
So
only the
cut
top
this-
people get to go anyway. Yeah.
right. It's just, same thing if I went out and bought a Chevette in high school. You can't get in a Chevette unless I can get some gas money out of you. So it's the same thing he's doing. But that is a huge, huge problem that I think this generation is going to have coming up. We'll get a couple more of these comments out. Guys, you keep them coming if you have anything else you want to say on this topic. If not, we're going to move on to the next one. Don't forget, you can go ahead and click one of the links up there. I put right next to it all of the description. Click that one. You can jump on and be a part of the show as well. Someone says control. It starts in school, not only with whitewashed nationalism, but by training people to believe their time is not valuable.
So the comment you read before that was Jeanette Adderley, and then the one you just read was Jesse G. And
Okay.
it is all about control and access to wealth. I mean, when we break down all our major issues, it always goes back to money. It's principle versus currency. How much principle can you give up in order to get a certain amount of currency? And then there comes a point where the principles are completely gone and all you've got left is currency. And that's kind of what happened in America. It's morally bankrupt, but it's financially rich. This country does to other countries what we say other countries shouldn't do. Yet somehow we sit on this pedestal of greatness and we bash other countries for doing the exact same thing that we've been doing for years. When you sell out, when you don't take a stand because you can make money off of it, herein lies the problem. At some point, it became financially unsuccessful to keep denying black people in public access to public things. There's a reason why segregation ended was financial. It's like, yo, these bus boycotts is costing us money, fam. Let these niggas ride the bus, right? That's basically what it boiled down to. Nobody's heart changed. Not one single person's heart changed. It's like, oh shit, this is affecting my financial stability, which is affecting my life directly. So
Absolutely.
you might not like black people, but if you know that black people having an issue with a certain thing fucks with your finances, then you're gonna be like, you know what? Leave them black people alone so I can keep making my money. And that's basically what it always boils down to, is when people's pocketbook gets affected, they act. And I don't know a way to affect everybody's pocketbook in a way to get them to act.
And you don't need to affect everyone's pocketbooks. You just need to affect the powers that be pocketbook. That's why when we had earlier this year, we talked about, no, it was last year, I believe. We talked about the family members who went and bought the land. They were going to start their own town in the South, and they put in their own city hall. And I believe I said that was the dumbest fucking idea that I've ever heard in my entire life. You might as well have taken all that money and put that in a pile and set it on fire. Because what you are trying to do now, anytime you try to go against the system, you're going to most likely lose. So now you're going against it. Before, they didn't want you involved at all. And I understood with Black Wall Street and so on and so forth. That black dollar never left Black Wall Street. Deon, what was it? Until it went around 6 times?
348 times.
348 times. Until. And going to Deon's point, when they figured out we had money to spend, we got to go get that money. So now you're fighting against the system that has turned because they want our money. Because now you're going to create your own town with your own schools and your own this and your own that. They're not about to let that happen. When the rules of the game change, you need to change with them. That's why I said at the time we were having that conversation, you'd been better served if you took that money and some way, somehow went and got into a lobbying firm and got someone to go in on your behalf and make some changes that you wanted to see done. You've been better served. The rules of the game have been changed. If you have the money to play it and you're not playing by the rules, you might as well not have the money to play it. Dion makes a perfect point when it comes to the bus boycott. You're looking at the same thing when it came to Colin Kaepernick and getting down on one knee during the anthem. There was a huge pushback to that. But then Nike and everyone else figured out, wait a minute, there's a whole lot more black people who have money to spend who care about this issue. We need to get on the right side of this issue. That's what it all, you're not looking for, and we always use the word ally. And that word ally is a great word. I love it when Deon uses it. I love when other people use it. I used it earlier when we were talking about something else during our pre-show. But the word ally does not always have to mean you are going to stand side by side with me in this war because you care like I care. You could be an ally because you have the right political or power that I or we don't have. And because you want something from us, like the Democrats do every 4 years, you are willing to bend at our whim. The problem is we don't make these motherfuckers bend almost till they are broken. That is the problem.
Use my secret weapon.
Jake.
Jake?
And that's it. And you are my secret weapon. We not friends, Jake.
Again, if you guys don't know the movie references they're doing, it's The Time to Kill. Here's the thing that I need people to understand is when you get into the system, whether it's a lobbying firm or you become a politician yourself, you've already lost because you're playing in a system that's already broken. You cannot be an effective politician. You one person, you literally cannot be elected, go into Congress and change things because we've seen it with AOC. We've seen it with Bernie Sanders. If you don't play by the rules of the game, they mark you immediately and then they try their best to get you the fuck out of town. This motherfucker is rocking the boat. This person is trying to change things internally and we cannot have that. They will smile in your face and then stab you in the back the second it's politically expedient. And then you look at the quote unquote squad. Those women are actually trying to change things, but are they getting any help? No. Why are they not getting any help? Because establishment Democrats, they're good. They're all right. They hear your concerns.
As soon as we're on the same side, you have to try to find a way to divide us, Deon. We've been getting along. Look,
name one person who's changed the system getting in that way.
Look,
you never can and you never will.
Look,
because like I said, once they buy your principle, once they put forth a dollar amount to get your principle, the game is over. If cash is king, then you just gonna be serving to the cash base. It don't matter who the lobbyist is.
There's two things I'm gonna say, and I'll start with using AOC. Doesn't mean AOC would be example for both because she doesn't have to. One, I would say AOC is great with pulling issues. We know they're issues, and she's great with coming with these magnificent plans of how things can change. Things that she knows will never, ever get through. They will never get through. Not only do you have Republicans bumping up against it, right now you have what's the congressman?
Joe Manchin.
Thank you. You got Manchin, who's a conservative Democrat, pushing up against it. Look, man, yeah, there's issues, but can you bring something to the table that could possibly bring everybody to the table? You can't.
There's a reason why you're in a separate party.
Let me finish. And if you so believe that nothing's going to get done, then stop running for elected office and go find something else to do. Because I refuse to believe that including AOC and Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden and the rest of them people who are going to die in office, because AOC will never lose. If you already know that there's no way for you to get anything, then why are you here? You're here because it's a nice way to collect a nice free check with some benefits for the rest of your life, and you can stand in front of a camera, look pretty, talk about what you want to do with these grandiose ideas that will never get through. But your followers will always say, look at what he or she is doing for us. Bernie Sanders know damn well these pie in the sky things that he wants to get done will never get done. Never.
Okay.
The only thing, but let me say this one last thing. The only thing Bernie Sanders has going for him is that people keep fucking and having kids, and them kids keep growing up naive and keep going for his bullshit. That is it.
Warren, do you have anything to say before I rebuttal that?
The bullshit isn't supposed to be bullshit. It's supposed to be an actual goal. I think we call it bullshit because we know the chances of it happening aren't likely. It's like the movie the book to Kill a Mockingbird. Sometimes you're supposed to still try to do this because it's the right thing to do, even though you know it's not going to happen. And I think if more politicians actually did that, things would start to change. But I fully, and again, you'll call it flip flopping. I fully understand naivety where you thought I'm going to get him, I'm going to change it, and then once you got there, you realize, oh, this guy won't move until I agree to some of the stuff on his bill, even though I disagree with all of it. So now I'm at a point where if I want any of my stuff to go through, I have to agree with some of his stuff, and now we're bartering. And now once you've started bartering, you're locked in. Now you've done stuff. Now you're doing things against what you know is right and true because you're trying. What's the road to hell's paved with good intentions? But now you're stuck in the loop.
And that's the way the politics used to work. Now we can't get these knuckleheads to do any of that. I don't want to agree with anything. I don't want you to have anything. Or if it's not all of what I say, then we're not doing anything. So now for I don't know how many years we've had, nothing gets done. This country is crumbling under our feet.
Okay.
And we can't get anything done. Go ahead.
You said the country is crumbling under our feet.
And
So
Rachel, I want you to call in with your comment, please. I'm sorry, Deon. I want you to call in because I really want to dig into this with you before we go to our next topic. So if you're willing, please click that link and call in. I'm sorry, Deon. Go ahead.
So who are the people trying to progress in the country, and who are the people who are trying to conserve and keep the country the way it is? Right. When you took a look at the word progressive and you look at the word conservative, right? All these people say they're fiscally conservative people, right? We want to conserve money. Well, who does that help? Who does conserving money help? It doesn't stimulate the economy if you keep it in the bank. So if you don't go out and buy shit, the economy stagnates, right? If you're not looking to progress in this country, you're in the way of progress. So you say AOC's got all these great grandiose ideas and they're bullshit because they're never going to happen. Why won't they happen? Because the people who she has to work with have already decided that new system is not beneficial to them. Why? Because it changes the power structure, it changes the finances, and it changes the demographics. So I'm not going to get reelected if I have progress. So what am I going to do to keep this job? I'm going to block all the progress. And what happens? So you have guys like Lindsey Graham and Matt Gaetz and
Mitch McConnell,
Josh Hawley. They speak to who? Their base. They tell you these are the boogeymen. They're trying to change your way of life, not realizing that if your way of life changed, you would have more access to better things. At the end of the day, you say you love America, then why are you stopping America from growing? Why are you blocking infrastructure bills? Why are you blocking people from getting paid paternity leave? Why are you blocking free healthcare? Things that will help make America better. You're blocking because it's not politically expedient for you. And your base isn't smart enough to realize.
And AOC does the same thing. AOC does the same thing on the other side. It's not just for a Republican side. We've got Rachel in the green room, so I want to bring her up. What's up, Rachel? How are you?
You got to unmute yourself.
Rachel, you with us? I don't see her lips moving.
She's frozen on my screen.
Yeah.
Yep, there we go.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you can we see your whole face? Can you bring your camera down a little bit so we can see all of your? There you go. Thank you. Okay.
I don't know.
There it is right there. Perfect.
You're welcome.
Perfect. All right. I don't want to read your comment. I want you to go ahead and say what you typed or however you want to put it. I want to jump into it with you. So go, Rachel, go.
What I was saying was that I grew up in Glendale, Arizona, where it is seriously a melting pot of people. And I mean, I had every race of friends, my understanding of how people are raised, what their bubble consists of, what their conversation in their families and the way that they're raised and the way that their friends talk and the way that their families talk. And otherwise other people don't have that knowledge. if they're not allowed to have a mix of friends, to see the other side of people's view of how they're treated, or how their lives are, or how other people treat them, in contrast to how maybe I was treated. um I don't think I would have ever known the difference if I had lived in some podunk town of just white people, but we have these places of just podunk white people.
So
You're
I'm trying.
freezing on us.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
And where you got politicians, and that they need to make differences, but I think that we're not, one of us is ever going to be on the same mindset or understanding in life. And until we can all sit down and have a full conversation like you're doing now, but in mainstream media or mainstream towns, I don't think anybody's going to want to sit down and understand completely somebody else's point of view, because in nature, as humans, we're very selfish things. And it's
Right.
sad, and I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's
All right, Rachel. Well, thank you. You're kind of breaking up a little bit, so I'm gonna let you go, and we're gonna discuss your thoughts there. Okay.
First, I want to say,
okay.
unfortunately, a lot of what you were saying was getting garbled up. I think we got the message, but there was a lot of it that was cutting out on a lot of it.
So
I think I got. I think I got the gist of what she was saying. I believe. Deon, where you at with
yeah, I
it?
was gonna say I think I got the gist of it too. So I'll let you go ahead.
Rachel, you correct us if we're wrong. I get what you're saying, that people grow up in their own bubble, and they don't come into the contact in other people's worlds, or they may not be allowed to. And this is what you're taught, and this is what you know, only because of this is where you grew up. I get completely what you're saying. People in podunk towns and so on and so forth. But I would push back when, especially with those people in podunk towns, and say they knew what was what when they were on top, just like they know what's what now they are not on top. And one of the things you have, going back to use Trump again and other politicians, 'cause it's not just him, is that when those people were not on top of the world, because the factories were still working, the crops were still coming in, all these different things that could have possibly affected their world, they knew what was what then. But when things started to backslide for them, and people started to point the finger at your problems are because of these people over here, that was not an easy jump for them to make, to say, yeah, because them folks over there have more and that's now why I have less. So I believe those people, even in the most podunk town in America, understands systemic racism, racial equality, and so on and so forth. And what
And
I
what
don't,
makes you,
what
I'm sorry, I was gonna say, well, the question is what makes you change a habit? Because now things have gone on. Because she's saying if you were taught that and you weren't allowed that at that younger age, well, now you've gotten older. So now you're at a point where now you can make these decisions. But why would you make them differently if you've always been taught this? So the question is, at what point do you change habit? I would think anytime we're butting heads, like Deon said a couple weeks ago, well, that right there should make us go, well, why do we keep butting heads? Why are they so mad? Instead of thinking, why am I so mad? Why are they so mad? And then try to understand the other side. But I know certain habits people don't even realize are habits, even though they know it's wrong. When Brooke cuts vegetables, she cuts towards herself. And me and the kids, we watch with wide eyes every
really,
time. And when I ask her why, she goes, "You know what? I don't even realize it." She goes, and she never cuts herself. She goes, "My mom did it." So then one day we're over at her mom's house, and her mom's cutting carrots. We're like, "Hey, we wanted to ask you. Brooke cuts that way. Did you show her that?" She goes, "I showed her what I knew." And we said, "Why'd you do it?" Because Grandma Carol taught me that way. So there's certain things that are now 3 generations. They all know you should cut away from yourself, but it's what they've always done. It's worked for them, and there's a factual statement of people do what worked for them on some degree, even if it's hurting yourselves.
and people do what's easiest if it doesn't hurt them. If God forbid any of them ever harm themselves by cutting vegetables that way, But if one of them harmed themselves cutting vegetables that way bad enough, guess what? They're gonna cut that knife will be turned the other way, and they'll be cutting it the way the rest of the world cuts.
Can I ask you guys a question? Have you ever heard this phrase? Two things we don't talk about: religion and politics.
Absolutely.
Why? Why is it that those things are not discussed?
They're the biggest fist fighters.
Yeah.
The comfort level changes when those two things are brought up. And what we all know to be true in this country is when you make white people uncomfortable, they don't know how to handle it. Because the whole system is designed to keep them comfortable. And so when you get pushback on your comfort zone, that should be your cue to be like, realize, oh shit, this is the moment. This is the time. This is the exact place where my ideology is being challenged and I need to be open to what's on the other side of it. This is the biggest problem I have with people is they don't recognize when their comfort zone is being stretched. You got to recognize when you are uncomfortable, why you are uncomfortable. People can say, oh, I'm offended. Why? Why are you offended? What is it that I'm saying that makes you offended? Check the reasons why you believe what you believe. Like Warren said with the cutting of the knives. She was doing it wrong because she was taught wrong. But she never checked to realize, oh shit, I was taught wrong. And that's what the critical race theory always boils down to is we've all been taught wrong and we know that. So why are we pushing back on this thing we all know is wrong? And it's because we're not comfortable with the truth. And until you can be comfortable and realizing, you know what, I made a mistake, until you can be an adult and a grown up and say, you know what, I was wrong. You're right. I need to accept the truth for what it is. Not because it makes me feel some type of way, but because it's the simple truth. That's the issue.
That gets you killed. That gets you
Exactly.
killed.
Exactly.
The biggest proactive and negative figure around the 60s was Malcolm X, because he was fine when he was saying white people are blue-eyed devils. He was fine. Everybody was okay with him. But the second he went to Africa and came back and said, you know what? I was wrong. I found people over there I could call my brother. That's when he got killed. The second you change, everybody was fine with him. Yeah, you say bad things about us, and we'll keep saying bad things about you. But the second you said we could be together, and I found places where we got to stop that.
And this is and this goes back to, and I always find a way when we talk about this topic to put it in. This is why I always say we really need to understand classism and that it exists very much so in this country, because I think that that is the common thread that we all could have, the 99%, the 95%, however you want to break that down based off of dollars. The classism, that's what would bring us together quicker than the racism ever could. It would be the classism. Someone here says, in fact, most people are trying to unseat the squad. There was a really big race last year here in Minnesota. Yes, and don't think for 1 minute that the old Democrats wouldn't be happy to see at least two of them motherfuckers get sent home. They would be happy to see AOC and a couple other members of that squad out of there. Also, we've allowed it to happen because we all want to be comfortable, which goes to Deon and the point that Deon and Warren both were making. Someone says, Jesse G, says it's apathy. And completely agree with that too, to a certain extent. I think a lot of people have the apathy because I'm doing okay, so it's no big deal to me. Let's see here.
Hold on real quick. I'm one of those people, I have no problem admitting when I'm not positive. Apathy is the opposite of empathy. Like, empathy is like, I care about you, I understand where you're coming from, and apathy is...
I don't give a fuck.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Fuck.
Got the hiccups going over here.
Well, you know what I think is funny is, you know, we always talk about equality. And Warren, you're going to love this line.
Hiccups.
We always talk about equality, right? We're all equal. No, we're not. Because you don't want to take your turn in the mud. You don't want to take your turn getting the lashes. And your lashes aren't even as hard as ours, right? Your lashes won't even be as hard as ours were. Everybody talks about I want to be equal. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because equal means that you have to take your turn in the mud. You don't want to hug that tree and get these lashes on your back and understand what that feels like. Everybody says it. It's a polite thing to say, oh, we're all equal. No, the fuck we're not. And that's okay. The problem is when you try to say we're all equal, knowing that we're not all equal, it already creates a bump heads moment to where you're not living in the truth. And if you're not living in the truth, you're creating more problems than you even realize you're doing. Living a lie is one of the worst things you can fucking do.
Hey, thank everybody for the comments. Go ahead and keep them coming. We're going to switch gears here momentarily, but I want to make sure everybody get their thoughts in. So thank you very much. Facebook user says the right wing would cry socialism to everything Deon recommends and tell people not to back it. So
That's Carlos.
Carlos. So, Carlos, I think you've been on enough to know that I am completely against using that word. The right wing would cry socialism, but I would also say that the people on the left or people who need to think on their own need to understand that we already have socialist parts of this country already, of our government. So this wouldn't be anything new. I'm a conservative, but there are some things I agree with when it comes to Deon. One of them would be health care. And I'm not one who goes for that's socialism because I'm smarter than that. I agree with you, and that is something that I caution people to be on the lookout for it with the last election cycle, and I caution people to be on the lookout for it for 2022 as well. Rachel Conrad says, okay, she's back here. All right, Victoria says there are so many ways to get information. Absolutely. You don't have to be ignorant to anything that you don't want to be ignorant to. So I agree with you there. Rachel Conrad agrees with you. Yes, Warren. So she's agreeing with you. Easy is the habit. So she's agreeing with you there. Jesse G says, preach Deon. So Jesse is giving you some kudos though. If there's a 1% problem, that means if the remaining 90% unite, then the top is outnumbered. Ideally, we link arms and tell them to F right off.
We can't do that because people want to save $3 at Walmart. And that's the bottom line. Yeah, everybody talks about uniting, but you don't want to make the sacrifices for that unification. At the end of the day, it's going to boil down to your financial situation. Do these people I'm uniting with got my back when I'm hungry? You don't even know your neighbor yet. You're trying to unite with them. Are they going to be there to feed you when you stand up? Are you going to be side by side with them when they fall down? Because that's what people need to understand. Progress isn't easy. No revolution is won in a day. So it's not going to be some snap your fingers, half the population's gone, and now we're all on one accord. That's not how it's ever worked. And it's never going to work that way. And I need people to understand that when we talk about actual change, it's hard fucking work. Excuse my language, but it's hard work. It takes sacrifice. You have to give something up, whether it be your comfort, whether it be your money, whether it be your life. You have to give something up in order to make the world a better place. And that's where everybody loves to talk about it. But at the end of the day, are you willing to lose out on that thing that you're so used to having? It's like, everybody loves the mom and pop store, but when Walmart comes to town, guess what? We take our ass to Walmart because we're going to save $3. Look at all the stuff they have.
And that is an obvious one right there that I can agree with because look at all the mom and pop stores are gone. True Values used to be kind of seen as a mom and pop store, and I don't think that's so much a mom and pop store either. And there really aren't any more out there. You know, when you think about going to get a pop or soda, depending on where you are, if you say stupid words like soda or anything. Where do you think about going? I'm going to Walmart to go get this, or I'm going to the grocery store, the mega chain grocery store to get this. You don't think I'm gonna just go down here to the convenience store like we used to when we were kids and grab a quick, that's not what I'm doing. And then what you think about is I don't want to do it because I don't want to drive through that big ass parking lot, park and walk half a mile just to go buy one pop. So then you don't do it. You drink water for the fucking rest of the day. And then you bitch because there's no small convenience stores like there used to be, but then you forget about it an hour later and then you're on to your next thing. So, but I agree with you, Deon, there. Molly says yes. So she's with us. Molly, what's going on, girl? Glad to see you. We're able to hop on. Kathleen here is saying something in response to Jesse here. Says the problem is getting the 99 to unite. Right now, by the accounts, the 99% is a split 50-50 on almost everything. And you are right about that, Kathleen. Give or take, you're right, 50-50 on almost everything. The biggest problem with it is most of the time that I would say the majority of those people on either side don't even know why they're split on these things or why they're saying that they agree with this or disagree with that. And that's always a huge. I can always go along with someone who says, I don't like this or I don't agree with this if we can have a conversation and you can actually put two ideas together on why you do not like that. I have so much respect for that person and I'm happy to walk away in disagreement because we had a good conversation about it because you actually could, you have two rocks that are rolling around in your head.
To underline the point you just said last week, and I have a bet where I say there's three kinds of mask wearers. So those who care about everybody and they're like, I want to be safe, I want you to be safe. There's the people who will never wear a mask because I don't care, I don't believe it. Then those who have their noses out. And we all know those people with their noses out. And we all know you're supposed to have your nose covered. And I make some jokes about blah, blah, blah. And this woman's pointing at her husband. I go, sir, are you one of those people who wears? No, I don't. I go, I got to know. Why don't you do it? And he said, because it fogs up my glasses. Now, again, I was able to at least accept that as a rational. I understand. And the time it takes me to walk to the store real quick, I'm going to grab my so-and-so. I believe, whether it is or not, it's just quicker to be able to see what I'm doing. So at least I get it. I understand. I still don't agree with him 100%, but I needed to understand. And that at least was a logical line I could follow.
Mm-hmm.
I would have challenged him, sir.
It's a comedy show, though.
You're. I know.
Right.
Right. I get that. But what I'm saying is
the things he could do differently.
Logically, if you're presented with a new problem, instead of being lazy about it and going, "Oh, I'm just not going to do the thing that's going to keep me safe because it fogs up my glasses," why wouldn't you look into solving your glasses fogging problem and keep yourself safe? That's the type of mindset that I'm talking about when it comes to actual change in this country, how lazy we are. It's much more comfortable to go to the store with my nose sticking out and possibly catch COVID than it is to fix a simple problem of putting a piece of cloth over the top of your nose that will catch all the moisture and your glasses won't fog up anymore. As someone who wears glasses on the daily because I literally cannot see without them, I had that problem. And guess what? The first thing I wanted to do was solve the problem of my glasses fogging up. So initiative takes precedence at some point.
You would think so. Jessie has a good point there. She says, by design, they intentionally create infighting so nobody notices. And Jessie, you are new to the show, I believe, but what a great point, one that we've talked about a lot on this show, because we do understand that the powers that be, that 1% I often talk about that run CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and OAN for you whack jobs out there who may happen to be listening to us. You know, there's a bunch of rich people that run that as well. You're right. That's what keeps them rich. All the infighting we do keep us chasing our asses and chasing each other's tails. So great comment there. But the comment of the night goes to Kathleen because Kathleen says, agree 100% Sid. So she gets an applause break for that because the brilliance of the comment.
Do you catch that? Did you catch that?
What's that?
I'm asking you if you're aware that some people said they agree with Deon several times. Some people agree with me here and there.
Yeah, I caught it.
But for you, that's when you...
Yeah, I did. Okay. Maybe you didn't catch it. I gave her another applause break. Did you catch that?
I'm catching it. I'm catching it. Two hands. Two hands.
What? I read your comments that people agreed with you. I do that every week. I say, hey, they agree with you, Warren or Deon.
I'm just saying that they got bonus, and you're the 1% that's in control of those buttons. Deon and I don't have those yay, but you got a yay button, Deon?
You know what? I like how you put that. You know what? Because I am the 1%. Let me put it back up there one more time and give another applause break. let me play my 1% role as I should be. You know what? I didn't understand all the power that I had till you just explained it to me.
I'm gonna get me a button.
That
was easy.
Run another tampon commercial on this MSNBC show for no reason at all. Just like, oh my God, do I have to watch another tampon commercial? Rachel says, maybe by saying we're all equal, they know we're not, but they are trying to say with that person in their minds and hearts, in their bubble, they would treat us all the same. Rachel, anything is absolutely possible. Anything's possible. And someone says, how come Warren don't have an applause button? You know what?
That's Susie, so be careful.
Who's that, Susie?
That's Susie.
Oh,
So be
Miss
careful
Susie.
how you speak to the Patreon.
I don't know why I can't see Miss Susie. I don't look.
You always see
Everybody
her.
gets spoken to the same way, but Miss Susie, as you see that I call her Miss Susie all the time, the respect that I give her,
Respect.
and so that's the respect I give her. So I don't, but I will go at Miss Susie if we don't agree, and she actually comes right back at you or me
Almost
or
definitely.
whoever else, so she can take it. But because it's Miss Susie, she's our new Patreon person, and she loves Warren so dearly. And Miss Susie, don't push your luck though, but we're gonna go ahead and get one of the applause break there. There you go.
Thank you.
All right, I will let it roll back through one more time, Miss Susie, just to make sure everything. What? All right, now Miss Susie, don't be trying to boss me around in the future on the future shows.
You know, a life lesson she taught me once, and I'm sure she doesn't even realize she taught me at the time. She was
What?
telling me about how the office she worked in, the main guy who she was like the lead. I don't know. I can't think of the title of her job. Whatever is 10 times more than the secretary because he couldn't operate without her. She knew his moves, so instead of getting hit or bumped into, she knew when he came in, if she didn't lean this way, he was going to mark her face with the marker because of the way he moved. And she knew if she didn't take 2 steps to the right, he was going to knock her coffee cup over, where all the new girls would come in and they'd complain about, he's always knocking over stuff. And she taught me, you got to look at people. You got to see what they do. If I know this is what you do, I'm the idiot if I stay here. When I could just go like this, dodge your pen, save my coffee, get the work done, go right back to what I'm doing. But I didn't know it was a life lesson at the time. She was just telling me a story, but it's helped me several times.
It is such a life lesson. I'm glad you put it that way, because Tamara and I, our home we shared before we bought the house was a small town home, and the kitchen was super tiny. Yeah. So anytime we were in there, same thing. I had to know when she was going to go to the left or to the right. I had to know she's coming over here so I could spin over here and back. And you're right. It's the same thing at work. People don't pay attention. And people, right. I'm always amazed how people don't even pay attention to people they're around all the time. All the time. And so you're right. That's a great story. I dig that. Rachel says, amen. Apply that everywhere, Warren. Apply that everywhere. All right. Let's go to our next topic. Thank you guys for sharing on this one. We're going to jump to the next one. Hopefully you guys are sticking with us and hanging in there with us. The next 2 topics come from Kathleen K. And each one of them are mailbag questions that we decided we were just going to make topics of the show because I thought they were pretty good.
And does everybody know they can do this? They can submit?
Everyone, you know what? You're right. For the new folks out there, if you have a mailbag question each week, Deon, Warren, and I will look at them, say yay or nay to it, and most of the time we say yay to them. So send them in. If you have a question or something you want us to answer, normally we do it at the end of the show. We haven't done it recently at the end of the show because we haven't gotten anything from anyone. But normally they're done at the end of the show. But Kathleen has always been good about sending them more often than not, and she sent us some really good ones. We decided to take 2 out of the 3 that she sent over the last few days and turn them into topics as opposed to grabbing some topics. So we thought these were good ones. We're going to give our thoughts on it as we always do. And of course, we want to hear from you beautiful people who are watching as well. The first one, with a note I have here, taking pics at the restaurant. So there was an individual who was out with her family eating dinner, taking pictures of her family. There were other people obviously in the restaurant as well. There was a customer that came over from another table who was concerned that this person had taken some pictures that included her children in the background. She demanded to see that person's phone. The person did, as I think most people would, and said, hell no, I'm not showing you anything on my phone. The customer decided to call over the manager as if the manager had a badge and a gun and was going to resolve this and make something happen. The woman still did not and would not show the pictures on her phone. And the number one reason is because this person is going through some medical things. There were some pictures she had to take in order to send in the doctors, and she didn't need that shown to this woman, let alone the public. The question to you all is, how would you have handled this? Period. End of story. How would you have handled this woman coming over to you saying, hey, I need to see the pictures that you just took that are in your phone. I believe you have pictures of my children in them, and I don't want you to have them. Warren?
That actually happened to me. We did a show, and then afterwards we went to the bowling alley next door, me and several other people, who are at the show, and we're having a good time, laughing, playing, taking pictures, and then this woman comes over and she taps me. Actually, her man comes over and says, "My woman said you took some pictures of her." I'm like, "I have no idea who you are." She's like, "If you could just let her look, I know it's." He said, "I know it's a hassle. If you could just let her look, it would make my life easier." So because of the way he said it, I was like, "Okay." And I showed her I didn't take pictures of her, and she said, "Let me see your cloud account." Now, I don't use cloud. I've never used cloud. If I take a picture, that's it. So I said, I don't have a cloud account, so I wouldn't know how to show you that anyway. And then she became irate. So I let her know, I did you a favor. The fact that you're out and about, you're out and about. Anybody can catch you doing anything. If you don't want your photo taken, wear hooded clothes. I've done as much as I can do for you. Please step back. And I felt bad for the guy because, again, he did what he did because she sent him over. And he tried his best to be I'm sorry. He's got a guy asking me for a favor. That's why I went in, no problem. But honestly, I don't know how to get to the cloud because I don't use it. I don't have it, so I can't give you what I don't know how to work. And she was pushy about it, but she'd been drinking, so nothing happened. He walked her away.
Deon?
I need each and every person listening to the sound of my voice right now to realize that when you are in public, there is no expectation of privacy whatsoever. If you're in a private business and they do not have rules clearly stated about photography, then all is fair and game. If people want to take pictures of you, guess what? There's literally nothing you can fucking do about it legally because you're in a public place. Even if you're in a private business where if they haven't established the rules and it's posted somewhere, there's nothing you can do about it. So this whole idea that let me see your phone and you don't take pictures of me, motherfucker, that is not a thing whatsoever. And the fact that you called Warren on a kind day, because I'd have bust you upside the head with one of them 16-pound bowling balls and told you to kick rocks. There's no way in hell I would let any random stranger go through my phone because they thought I took a picture of them. Guess what? You're in public. So sucks to you. There's cameras literally everywhere in the world now. Your picture is going to be somewhere. If you've got a laptop, somebody's got your picture. Somebody's looking at the camera right now that I don't even know about. Some NSA guy, some FBI agent, somebody's watching you at all fucking times.
I didn't say NSA. I didn't say NSA. Deon said NSA.
Now you said it twice.
So now I need people to understand that this expectation of privacy in the modern world. Oh Lord,
Yeah.
Next time go up, brother.
No. I'm closing the show. Show's over.
I need people to understand that. Like, yo, when you get a cell phone, your privacy goes out of the window. These apps track you now. So all your information is out there for public consumption. And if you don't want to be exposed, quote unquote, then you can't use the service because that's how it's designed.
Look, this is what I would have said. Going back to Kathleen's mailbag question, this is what I would have said. I would have said the same thing that I say to people who tell me that they want to come to a show, but they are afraid that I or other comics are going to make fun of them. And this is what I tell them. How important do you think you are? You are not that important. Look, first of all, as you see, I'm taking pictures of these people I'm with. Now, if you happen to be in it because of an angle, I don't know what to tell you other than nobody gives a fuck. All right? That is it. Now, if you're going to tell me that those are the children of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, now you got a different problem because now I may sell these fucking pictures. All right? So you're better off not saying anything. Actually, you're better off getting out my face, taking the ass back where you walked over from. You and whoever else you brought over here with you. I am not showing you shit. You know why? Because I don't know what look, I was out to dinner the other night with a very good friend of mine at a nice restaurant. He had his business partners coming. He asked for a table to be set up for his business partners because he and I were having another discussion. The bartender said, no, we've sold all the tables. Everything's reserved. He said, well, can I because we're sitting at the bar. He said, can I reserve these 3 spots here? She said, absolutely, because he's a regular and he's been coming there often.
Okay.
She reserves these 3 spots for him. A group of white people come in about 20 minutes later. One of the white dudes in front says, oh, looks like all these are reserved. The white woman pushes past him like she's going to go sit down anyway. The bartender comes over and says, you can't sit here. These are all reserved. But there may be some seating over here back on the back bar, the back end of the bar, the the amount of privilege that these people walk around with to ask anyone, and I'm not talking about just black and white, for this woman to come over to anyone of any color and think that you could demand someone show you something about you. Get your fucking ass out my face before you lose all your teeth today up in this fucking Applebee's. Cause you know what? They fucked up my whole order. I'm not in the mood. Get your ass back over there. And so no, I'm not showing you shit in my. I'm not in. And I hope you send your husband over because I have no problem with strangling the fuck out of him because he has a dick. I may hesitate to strangle you because you don't have one. Take your ass back over there because I'm not happy with either one of you. The amount of privilege. The fact that this dude, look, you know, one of my favorite movies
has got Sidney riled up.
One of my favorite movies is the Five Heartbeats, and when that fine sister come in and Leon's character, not Leon's character, what's the lead singer who ended up on cocaine? What's the character's name again?
I can sing.
Yeah, when he's sitting there and he's doing coke, and she walks in, she's like, I don't like this, and you shouldn't be doing this. His homeboy is sitting next to him. His homeboy turns and looks at her and looks at him and says, you ain't got your lady in check? That's what I would have said to that motherfucker if he came over to ask me about these pigeons. You ain't got your woman in check? Better get your ass back over there and have this conversation. Get the fuck out my face. Neither one of y'all are seeing shit in my phone.
I 100% agree with Sidney. Get the fuck out. I'm not doing you no courtesies. Did nobody come here to take pictures of you? Nobody came to see you, Otis.
At the bowling alley? At the bowling alley?
At a restaurant, bowling alley, in
no,
public.
Look, bitch. If that ain't your husband, then y'all need to do a better job of sneaking. Get the fuck away from me.
I think people definitely don't understand that when you're in a public place, you have zero rights to privacy. It is upon you, the person, the individual, to create your own privacy wherever it is you go. So if you don't want people seeing you, if you don't want people knowing who you are, then it's your job, your responsibility to create that privacy that you want to have. And if you go to public places, then guess what? You're throwing all that out of the window. Michael Jackson didn't go out in public and then say, oh, I don't want y'all to see me. No.
Motherfucker wore a cape over his face. He wore a mini cape over his face.
And guess what that does? Just tell us that you somebody we should be looking for.
Oh my god! You ain't got your baby. You got to get your lady in check, man. Be coming over here with that nonsense.
Yeah, you way too nice, Warren.
He's not way too.
Day. It was a good show.
No, you know what? No, Warren and I have talked about this. I think before, where we're similar in a way that you catch us on a good day, it's a good day for you. And sometimes it may not be a good day for you, but I'm in a situation where I don't want to make this a bad day for you. And so I'm going to be nice to you and courteous. I'm not quite there as well as Warren is. So you better get away from me. And so it's just a matter of shit. But I'm not knocking what Warren did because Warren could have went the other way and then Warren would be doing this podcast, doing 5 to 10 somewhere and have to bring a cell phone to him.
He was very polite. He was polite. She had the attitude.
No, and I would have been polite to him too. I just would have said, I can't do it, bro. I feel you, but I can't do it. You see my woman over there? I got her in check. You need to go get yours in check.
As he whispers it, I got that girl over there.
She's at the gym. So
Clearly she's not watching.
Victoria says, you know how many photos we are in because disposable cameras. Absolutely. There's so many pictures out there you floating around. Jesse G says they've never seen someone they love murdered in the street. They have never been broke. Those are the people I see going full Karen. You're right. And Jesse, I would say those are the people who've never been punched in the mouth. That's what makes you think you can come up because along the travels of your life, people have let you. No one has never floored you. You know who doesn't get in your face quite as often? Someone who's been punched in the mouth because they don't want to be punched again.
There's only one guy, and Charlie Murphy told that story. I want some more.
Jesse G says, also, I wonder what that lady was so afraid of, like getting caught. She was probably somewhere somewhere she wasn't supposed to be doing something. I don't know why at the bowling. I didn't need to have ass up in a hotel room. Right? Was she at least good looking? Get your ugly ass out of here. Rachel says, "What the hell is going on in the person's life that they are so afraid to have their kids' picture taken? Are they in witness protection or something? And if so, they shouldn't be out in public." Rachel, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna take it up another notch. She's probably one of them stupid people that have pictures of her kids all over Facebook anyway. Those are the people I have a real issue with. You got 500 friends on Facebook. You only really friends with about 50 of them, and you got pictures of your kids all over it all the time. Those are the people you need to be concerned with when it comes to people getting pictures of your kids. Thank you, Kathleen, for the question, or for the question. She said there is this big myth lately, and there are all these kidnapping sex traffickers looking to steal kids. Them kids, if the woman was, look, man, then watch
Who's robbing children?
He's getting them off
Applebee's?
my camera roll.
at Applebee's.
Like that's what I'm taking pictures of some random person in the background of my photo, and then I'm gonna do what? Detective work to figure out who this kid is and where they live. Like, if it's not, there's a certain level of common sense that has to factor into this at some point, right? Like, if you're in the background of somebody else's picture, and then you walk up to them and say, "Hey, can you delete that picture because I'm in the background?" Like, if somebody asked you to do that, you'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Absolutely. I'm sitting here thinking as a sex traffickers, yes, this happens all the time. We know horrible things happen to children. I've yet to hear the case of the weird dude who walks up with the camera just taking pictures. Can you turn your head slightly tilted to the right for me? Let me get that shot there. I guess some people who may be looking for a little blonde haired, blue eyed kid with short arms. I've yet to hear this issue. This is so asinine. Get away from me. I don't care about your kid. Sex traffickers don't care about your kids. You don't want your kids trafficked, keep an eye on them. All right.
Take more pictures of them. I knew you was right there because I got the picture.
Very simple. All right. Our next one comes from Kathleen as well. So this is pretty simple. What I know where I'm going with this. I can't wait to see where you guys are master debaters and where my two brothers go with this one. It says, out to dinner and someone with less money tries to pay. Now, the issue with this was the person who was also a guest there wanted something that he or she wanted for dinner. But they didn't want to order it because the person who's paying does not have the deep pockets that they are, for whatever reason, trying to pretend they have on this particular night. Do you order what you want to order, or do you order something else that's less expensive? Warren, what do you do?
Me personally, I'm the type of person. I'd have empathy, not apathy. And the way I would take it on myself, so you know what? I have been looking forward to eating this most expensive, whatever it is, all week. I saved up my own money to get this. I don't want to ruin everybody's night. I got to buy it myself, so I have that feeling. Don't deprive me of this. I've used that line several times. Don't deprive me of this, and it works. So if you and the lady friends are having issues, don't deprive me of this. Doesn't make that I've been thinking about this all week.
I hope Miss Susie's still listening because now Warren has actually earned an applause break.
I thought that should get a Michael Jordan laugh.
Oh, you know what? All right. Yeah, you're right. Don't get greedy, Warren.
Should have been sad.
That was
but
good.
That
dinner,
is the
calling
most
someone that.
rapey line I've ever heard in my life.
Don't deprive.
Talking about food. I'm a married man. I can speak rapily to my wife. Sometimes it's requested.
When did you become Jamaican all of a sudden? What? Spousal rape is legal in Jamaica.
Oh, why do you know that?
Rape.
Why do you know that?
Speak. I said speak it.
No, why does Deon know this?
Why do I know spousal rape is legal in Jamaica?
Yes.
Because I had a conversation with somebody about it. I was like, yeah, Jamaica's not that great. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, okay.
That line was super rapey.
You knowing that Jamaica is a place that you can legally rape your wife is rapey. What is your thoughts on it? On this?
It's a very simple fix. Get 2 checks. If they say they're paying, but you know they can't afford what you want to eat, then that's when you, excuse me, I got to go to the bathroom. You find your server and you go, hey, separate this off. And then you pay for it right then and there. So 1, you don't embarrass the person who's invited you out. And 2, there's no issues at the end of the night when they get the bill and they're like, oh shit, I can't afford this. If you go out with people and they say they're going to pay for you, but you know they can't afford what it is that you want, then very discreetly get 2 checks. And if they have a problem with that, then stunt on their asses. Motherfucker, I know your broke ass can't afford it. If they challenge you on it, then embarrass them because you try to do it the discreet way to save their feelings. And some people don't want that, and some people need the repercussions of their actions. So that's what I would do. That's what I've done when I've gone out with people who I know. I know your situation's tight. Plus, I'm not a greedy person, so it's not like I would try to ball out when I know somebody's paying anyway. I'm gonna get what I'm gonna get because that's what I want, and that's how I am, and that's how I move. But for this situation, just get 2 checks.
We about to play big bank, take little bank. That's what we about to do. So, cause I'm about to order what I want to order. Hey, you got to figure that shit out at the end. That's what we about to do. You want to play big bank, take little bank? Go ahead. Especially if we at one of my spots that I'm not. You want to run off at the mouth for whatever reason? I don't need to do you no favors. You know how much money you have. Like, look, people always know who the broke person is in the group. All right? So we all know you broke. You know you broke. Why your mouth running? I don't know. But you know what's about to happen? You about to pay for this motherfucking $80 steak today. That's what you about to do. And I'm about to get the sides that I would normally get. And you know what? I may throw a bottle of red wine on here too. Just because. Teach you a lesson. And I know what you won't do. When you're back there and you busting suds at the end of the fucking night, you won't be opening your mouth.
They don't let you do that anymore.
That's an old school term.
Whatever,
right there.
whatever they, okay, well, while they back there raping you.
What's Warren's line? Don't deprive me of this.
There is no
You
way.
have twisted my words.
There is no way I'm about to let you keep me for what I want to have for dinner because your broke ass decided you go pick up the check tonight.
The card has been declined. Don't deprive me of this.
Yo, Deon, when that card come back declined, this is what I'm doing. I'm getting up. I'm out. I ain't got time for this.
But I think in terms of her asking the question, I think she was hoping that you might suggest something less
Confrontational?
abrasive. Yeah.
Fuck off. Tell them fuck
that's
off.
what I'm saying. If you're going to dinner with your friend, somebody you consider a friend, and you know they can't afford it, I would hope that you would not be out here ordering red wine out of respect for your friend and their financial
He should have respected me. You know who you rolling with. You have no respect for me. Go try to get me to get this bargain basement meal. Shit.
Which is why I drink Dasani as opposed to the Voss water that Sidney needs in his writer.
Look. All right. So if we out someplace nice, I'm getting what I want. Too bad for you. If we out at Applebee's, then I may say something to you because I'm not gonna let you try to pretend like you're a baller buying me some rib tidbits or whatever they serve.
Kathleen
over there.
wrote in and said, "No, I just wanted to pay for my own." Is all.
Yeah. Well, and see, earlier Kathleen said like we were all paying separately, and then one guy says, "Put it all on one bill." Okay, cool. I set this money aside for this special night. Now, guess what? I'm happy. I'm gonna be full of money in my pockets at the same time.
Hopefully you guys can compromise and you at least pay some of the tip.
Jesse G says, if you can handle it and know they are strapped for cash, do your karma a favor and pay for your own and theirs. Jesse, this has nothing to do with karma. Nothing. You didn't walk in there and tell that person they needs to pick up the whole check, so it's not your karma.
And
Karma's not even real.
I can't.
There's no such thing as karma.
Would you stop it? I'm having a conversation with Jesse about what they believe in karma.
Karma's not even real. That's hilarious.
Someone
Not
says
even
it's
real.
one. Someone says it's one dinner. Let them treat you and eat your big thing a different night. Don't deprive them of the feeling of doing something for you. Look here, man.
That's Susie.
So, Miss Susie, if you want to do something for me, then do something for me the way I would do something for me. Don't do something for me the way you want to do something for me. That ain't doing nothing for me.
You are so he said, serve me the way I want to be served, not the way you can afford to serve me, motherfucker. It's about me, not you.
I didn't ask you to do it.
That is the most Sidney thing of all time. If you're gonna do it right.
It's one damn dinner, Sidney. You'd embarrass your friend rather than eat something reasonable.
Is that Miss Susie?
I don't know. It's not marked, so maybe.
Yes.
Miss Susie, I'm not. It's not. Look, we're at a nice place. All right, I'm ordering the food here. This is reasonable. This is a reasonable meal to have. Now, I won't order the bottle of wine. That was a little much. I won't do that. All right. So take the wine back. I'll even buy the wine.
Or do you order it to go? Do you order whatever you have there and then go, now throw me down an extra something on the side?
No, I wouldn't do that.
No?
But I ain't gonna sit here and eat chicken fingers like I'm an 8-year-old either. You should have fucking known better. Should have started running
There's
your
certain
mouth.
restaurants we rarely go to. So when we go there, oh man, I love the full ribs there
Yeah.
because I love it. But it's so rare that we go there. So it's like, what if we were at one of those spots?
So you would order your meal there and order some ribs to go?
If I'm being nice, yeah. If I'm being super nice, oh yeah, I love the ribs here. I'll take these for tomorrow, then I'll eat them in the car.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. No, we ain't eating no food in my car. But
Don't deprive me of this.
I can't. You know ain't nobody eating no food in your Beamer either. So you driving the
Oh, not that car, no.
top down. You out there with a rib bone hanging out your mouth.
You know what this has taught me? Never take you two motherfuckers to dinner because I'm not paying for shit.
Dude, the last time we went out, I bought, and Deon was classic Deon. The waiter comes, and I was classic me. I go, hey, just so there's no fist fight after, I'm saying to you first, I'm going to buy this meal. And he goes, I wasn't going to fight you.
I wasn't. I know what fight Warren entails. You got to lose teeth, and I'm not about that life. I
wasn't going to fight you.
Kathleen K says, I slid my card to the server on the way to the bathroom, but then the poor server had to go through the BS of figuring out what meals went where, etc. All right. Well, sorry, Kathleen, that the guy was selfish, knowing he ain't have enough money really to pay for everybody, and y'all had to all eat mayonnaise sandwiches. So,
can I get by with ketchup?
That's extra.
all right, we're gonna quickly go through our top 5, and our top 5. This is a good one that Warren came up with. Oh, before we get to it, thank you guys who are with us, who are still with us watching the show. We appreciate you. Thank you for the comments. Thank you guys for keeping your eyeballs on us. We do appreciate it. If you're still with us and you're enjoying the show, hit some heart emojis up there for me, would you? Let us know that you're still there. I would appreciate that. We're going to move to our final topic here, our top 5. And Warren got a great idea again. Top 5 people that we have met. And Warren, you, sir, get to go first with your first one.
I'm going to go tops on both ends. So the top last one, and I'll do the top first one. Dave Chappelle. I got to hang out with Dave Chappelle for an hour and a half. Opening for D.L. Hughley. And what'd you say? You know why I wanted to do this?
Only reason you want to do this.
That's great. It was great. It was great. So him being, one of my favorite comics, it was great to hang out with him and hear him in real life, how he really tells a story, which is just like he tells it on stage. He was much more, he was more deep than I expected him to be. I thought he'd be more of a pothead type guy. He wasn't. He was deep. Deep.
All right.
Deep.
That's so funny because I was going to say Dave Chappelle too. I met him. Neil Brennan had just did a show at the local comedy club, and there was
Did you just drop a name while dropping a name?
Yes. There was word on the street that Dave was coming to see Neil. Neil's show had ended. I was at home watching basketball. I didn't even know Neil had a show. But the manager of the club tweeted, "Hey, Dave Chappelle's about to come up here." So we literally hop in the car, me and Michelle, and we drive up to see Dave Chappelle. And I got to hang out with him in the green room for about 35, 40 minutes. I popped a bottle with him, and he told stories. He did this Snoop Dogg impersonation about this time. He and Neil were going to the mall, and they were looking for a parking spot, and they finally found one. And then this big ass black XUV pulls in their spot, and then the window rolls down, and it was Snoop. And he did Snoop's voice. It's like, "Gotta be faster, my niggas." And it was it was just the coolest. He was super down to earth. He took pictures. He, shook hands. He was super, super genuine. And he was the man. He's always going to be the man. Can't nobody tell me different,
Oh.
All right. Again, if you guys have anybody out there that you've met that's famous, we want to hear about it. I'm going to go with Sinbad. Sinbad, one of my mentors and Warren B's mentors, or one of our two mentors, Dad, we call Dad and Pops. But T.A., He's very good friends with Sinbad. Sinbad credits TA for being the reason why he got into comedy. He left some tickets. Wow, how many years ago was this now? He left some tickets.
3, 4?
No,
3?
longer. This is almost 9 years ago. So 8, 9 years ago, he left some
That's not
tickets for us at Wild Horse Pass Casino. He was in town. TA said, "Hey, you want to go?" I said, "Absolutely." So we go, watch the show. First time I ever got a chance to see Sinbad live. I tell everyone, if you've never seen him live, it's worth the ticket. Once he's healthy and back out there touring again, if you have a chance, you got to see him. But he brings TA up on stage towards the end of the show, and then TA talks about me, and then Sinbad asks if I was there. I was. Allows me to come up onto the stage after that. Says, "You think you're funny?" I'll never forget. He says, "So you think you're funny, huh?" And I say, "Yes, I do." He said, "Well, show me what you got." And hands me the microphone in front of his sold out audience at this fucking casino. Lets me do like 2-3 minutes. And said, "All right, give me that mic back." And when I walked through the casino after that, people were high-fiving me. "You were so funny," all these different things. That was the minute that I knew I could do this. I think comics always, when we're doing it, we feel like we can do it. You get laughs, but there's that one moment, whatever that moment is, that was my moment that I knew that I could do this, and I will forever be grateful for that. So that's my story there of one of the cool people I've met. Kathleen says, Irene Miller, Holocaust survivor and author, now a personal friend, took her on a speaking tour to my school a few times. You know what, Kathleen? I normally call Warren B. One Upper. That is going to be your new nickname. Is One Upper. We over here sharing our people, and the first thing you pop off with is a Holocaust survivor. That I'm going to go ahead and give both you an applause break because that is so cool.
It's like America's Got Talent, where you got to compete against the blind guy who can sing really well.
Yes.
I just got fucking jokes, man. I don't have I'm not a survivor of losing my eyes and shit. You got to. Way to go, Kathleen.
Now you see you have this grunter we all sign with you now, Kathleen. Warren, who's your next one?
Gregory Hines. Gregory Hines, he's an actor, man. If you don't know, which to me, he was just one of those guys who I always thought he was really, really funny in movies.
Yeah,
that movie with him and Billy Crystal, where they were like, it was like a buddy cop movie.
Yep.
I just always thought he was hilarious. And then when I found out that he could dance, like several different types of dances. If you haven't seen White Nights, see the movie White Nights.
It's incredible.
Gregory Hines and Mikhail Baryshnikov.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
Okay. I'm jealous of that. Gregory Hines is awesome. I remember him on Sesame Street. This is when I was a kid, like 3, 4, 5 years old. And like, oh my God, this guy's amazing.
Yeah, he always looked 40.
That's super cool.
He did always look 40. You're right. He did always look 40.
Hilarious.
That is hilarious.
Rest in peace, Mr. Hines. But yeah, man. All right, go ahead. How was your next one?
I got the great pleasure of meeting Paul Mooney. I actually met Paul Mooney. This was probably 4, 5 years ago. Unfortunately, he had gotten booed off stage. You could tell he was suffering from dementia. He couldn't remember his jokes. He thought certain people were other people that weren't those people. But he still had that Paul Mooney essence. It was still there. And he was super nice. I got to take a picture with him. And, he will always be comedy royalty, regardless of how you feel about him. The man is an incredible comedic mind. So it was unfortunate that his show didn't go the way everybody was hoping it would. But it was still kind of cool to meet him.
And something else about old Mr. Mooney, he was brave before that was a cool thing to be in comedy. In terms of he wasn't afraid to say shit about anybody, especially white people, during the time when he probably should have been afraid to say things about white people.
Controlled it all, yeah.
And it just, that's that finding our voice and finding courage and bravery in our writing is something I think all true comics, people who really love this genre, try to achieve. And it's not as easy as it sounds. One, finding a voice, it takes years. But two, being courageous and wanting to express the things that you want to express and hopefully get people to laugh. That's something else I think we just chase after constantly if you love this craft the way the three of us do. Let's see here who we got here. Kathleen's got Julian Bond spoke at my college. Incredible man. Kathleen, you keep it up. Keep it up. So Facebook user says number 5, someone who was really only famous in France, comedian Paul Taylor.
It's Carlos.
Okay, Carlos. Okay, I'm sorry I met that. Kathleen, yep, keep it up. Number 3, astronaut Scott Kelly. Kathleen, you about to be banned from the show. You keep this up. My next one is Michael Phelps.
Okay.
And he's pictured there. I don't know if you guys can even see it, but he's there.
Yeah, we've seen it before. We've seen
He's
it.
on the wall there. Very cool story. Why I like him for the same night I found out I hate Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis was having a cigar event. He has a line of cigars. It was at Torch. You guys have, I believe, heard me talk about Torch before. And Ray Lewis comes in through the back door. Table's already set up. Has off-duty Phoenix PD there in uniform. Will not come from behind this table to talk to you or anyone in here. Not that I wanted to, but I just noticed things. I like to watch. Won't come from around this table unless you go over and buy a box of cigars. Irritated the shit out of me. This place is packed wall to wall. I hear whispers because I know the owners that Michael Phelps is coming. I'm like, there's no way he's coming down here. Michael had just took over coaching the swim team here a few years back. Michael comes in through the front door, walks down through everybody. Everyone moves like Moses in the Red Sea. He's high-fiving, shaking hands. People are, Michael Phelps. One guy even turns and says, Michael, thank you for your service. And I look at the guy like, thank you for your service, motherfucker. He's not in the military. He's a fucking swimmer. What are you talking about? Super cool dude. Hung out, took pictures the whole 9. He didn't have to. The greatest Olympic athlete of our time came and hung out just like a regular guy. And you had this jackass over there that made millions of dollars hitting people for a living. Won't bring your punk ass from around the table. Irritated this shit out of me. But Michael Phelps, hell of a cool dude that night. All right. Warren B.
Mike Tyson. I met Mike Tyson.
You about to get banned from the show too. You do it one more again. One more. Who was your first 3? Mike Tyson, Dave Chappelle. Who was the other one?
Gregory Hines.
Yeah. Do it.
I see you're Michael, and I one up you a Michael.
All right. Do it again. Say Michael Jackson on the next go round. Let's see what happens.
To continue, I met him 3 different times.
Oh.
Jab.
And he scared me every time. Like, he honestly, like,
Wish
I've
he had
never
hit you.
just met someone and felt fear.
Yeah.
I felt fear. Because one time I was like, hey, Mike, was at a dance club. I was like, hey, Mike. And he was up in the little VIP area, and he was leaning on the railing. And I put my fist up, like, give me some of that. And he looked at me like, don't you owe me money? And then he came out of it and put his hand up. And I was scared. So I'm there with my fist up, like, oh, God, he's going to kill me. And then he didn't. And then I was like, yeah, Mike, second time meeting him. Yeah.
All right. I wish I had hit you. All right. Go ahead, Deon.
I wish you had a hit.
Wow.
My third person is Dick Gregory. I met Dick Gregory
Nice.
at a comedy show, and he hung out and he talked with me for a really, really long time after the show. He let me pick his brain, and he was giving me all this unwanted advice about life, and he was going on. And
He was doing a Deon?
I was like, I gotta clean these tables, bro.
I thought you were gonna say he let you pick his beard. His beard was so long.
What? No,
Pick his beard.
why would I want to pick his?
You pause. He let me pick his beard.
All right. So he was giving you unwanted life advice?
He was just going. He was being preachy, Dick Gregory, but he was nice. He was kind, but again, he gave me a lot of like, nigga. I wasn't even thinking about that, but okay. Like, you know what I mean? He gave me a bunch of information I didn't know what to do with, and I was just standing there like, how do I get out of this? I got stuff to do. Like, it was super cool, but then it got to a point where I felt like I was like, oh,
I gotta fill these ketchup containers. I ain't got time for this.
I'm the only black dude here, and you gonna get me in trouble because they think I'm keeping you. So it was one of those things. But Dick Gregory, he was awesome.
We saw you trying to start a march with Dick Gregory last night. You gotta go.
They were plotting something.
All right, Facebook user, I'm assuming it's Carlos again, says Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota when I used to go to political dinners.
Yes.
Rachel Conrad says, I've met and served George Takei from Star Trek, Sulu. Oh, I know who
It's
Sulu.
actually a decay. A lot of people make that mistake. It's
Oh, is it?
decay.
Excuse me, nerd. George Takei and his partner with the.
I
What up?
only know because he was making fun of Shatner. He said, "For years you've called me Takai. It's decay. You know, like toupee."
Oh,
So
wow.
I only
Wow.
remember because he was digging the
Oh,
captain.
wow.
So I
Wow,
thought that was funny.
that was man.
Yeah.
And his partner with their little cute puppy several times. They would come in and ask for me to serve them only. That's pretty cool. And I heard he's a super nice guy. Rachel confirmed that or not, but I heard he's a really nice guy. Carlos also says Francisco Liriano. That's very cool. Victoria says Rude Jude. Nice. Alan Thick. Okay. All right. Kathleen says Matthew Shepard's parent. Look, Kathleen. Look, man. All right. Okay.
For those of you who don't, isn't Matthew Shepard the gay man they killed in, I think, Utah?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait, Kathleen is just crushing us.
Who's next? Am I next?
I think it's you.
Okay. Sarah Silverman and Whitney Cummings. I do owe them up. Again, picture.
Yeah, we
back
can
behind
see
me.
the pictures right
All right.
behind you.
Because they were so dope at the Comedy Store. I'd met Whitney before. She was super nice. Had never met Sarah. Had a huge crush, still do, on Sarah Silverman. So I was happy to be on this show with her. But just hung out for 3-4 hours in the green room. They just let me throw idea after idea at them, pepper them with questions. I had a ton of questions for Whitney because she's an accomplished creator of shows. Whether you like the shows or not, she's done it, and writer. So I was able to throw things past her. And I threw a couple of ideas that they really liked, where they kind of took the idea I gave them and kind of started running with it as if it was their own idea. And that's what they say you always want to happen when you're pitching shows to people. So really dug it, learned a lot that night. And yeah, those two are so dope. Even told Sarah Silverman when she was leaving, I said, one day you and I are going to work together. And she looked at me, she said, I believe that. And then she went to walk past me. I said, oh, wait. I don't believe that you really believe it. I need you to really believe it. And she kind of paused for, it seemed like forever, but probably 30 seconds. And she said, you know what? I really do believe we are going to work. I said, okay, you may exit. And she left, but super dope chick.
Did you whisper, don't deprive me of this?
I was going to say, but I'm rapey?
God damn.
So I'm sitting there leaning against the wall, right? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
All right, because the wife is not too far away.
All right.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God. I feel like a nerdy freshman in high school. And I'm like, oh my God, Sarah's so hot. I wonder if she'll let me touch her. And then Whitney Cummings walks in and shakes my hand, whatever, says, hello, good to see you again, and walks past me. She sits down, and I just look at both of them. And I'm like, man, I wonder if I can make out with both of them at the same time.
Read some more comments. I don't want to hear this shit.
As you said, don't deprive me of this.
You brought it up, Deon. You had to go to the well one too many times. All right. So, Facebook user, again, I'm assuming this is going to be Carlos, says, is it Testa? Someone who's very famous in my field. Okay, gotcha. Carlos, could you tell us what field you're in? Can you do that, or is it top secret? Victoria says, Chuck Norris. I was actually in the first episode of Walker, Texas Ranger.
What?
Really?
That's awesome.
What? I'm gonna have to look for that. Victoria, what was your role? Were you?
Did he kick you in the mouth?
He didn't try to touch you, did he? Chuck, like he would be someone who tried to get a little grabby on the set. So, Victoria says, Miss Pat. All right, okay, very good. All right, Warren, your next one.
I don't want to be thrown off the show.
What's your next one? I would never throw you off. What's your next one?
Steven Spielberg.
Oh, you gotta go. You so gotta get out. Is it really Steven Spielberg?
It's Steven Spielberg. I worked at GameWorks, and I didn't know that he was one of the founding owners of it. It's like a Dave and Buster's type thing. So he comes in, and you'll be impressed with this. He drove himself. He showed up in a minivan. It was him and his two sons and one of their friends. And my job was just to pretty much be a chaperone for his oldest son, Max. Right? So stupid me. I'm like, hey Max, it's so dumb that I would ask this. I go, did you see Back to the Future, the second one? And he's looking at me like, are you kidding me? I was in the damn thing. And I was like, yeah, do you remember who had said Jaws 23 was directed by? And I remember he looked at me, and he was probably like 11. He goes, I think it said me. And I was like, I'm sorry. And that was it. But when I got to hang out with Spiely for a little bit, he lets us call him Spiely. I remember him going, hey, thanks for watching my kid. I really appreciate it. And I go, The Color Purple should have got every award possible. And again, like Sarah Silverman, he hesitated, and he goes, thank you. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. And then that was that.
Now,
Me and
I
Spiely.
thought it was a cool thing between me and Sarah, and I found it was just a Hollywood thing, a Hollywood hesitation.
Yeah. Hold it. No answer.
Oh, thank you very much. Go ahead, Deon.
Oh, Spiely. I call him Spiely.
He lets
This
us go.
guy. I met Wanda Sykes, and she was super awesome. She was really, really nice. I actually got to go back in the green room with her. She shared her food spread with me. I was like, no, that's your food, Wanda. I don't want to take it. She's like, boy, you need to eat something. So I thought that was kind of cool. She was super nice. She had an amazing set that night too. We sat like in the third or fourth row. She was really, really funny. And then we got to meet her backstage, and she was super cool, super nice.
I heard she's super
Did you mention
nice.
you're a comic? tell her?
I might have. I don't really remember. Yeah, she knew that I was a comic because I actually got the tickets through Miss Pat, who is friends with her. So, but we didn't talk about comedy or anything. I was just like, I'm a huge fan of you. I've been a fan of you since I first saw her. I think the first movie I saw her in was in Down to Earth.
Yeah, with Chris Rock.
Yeah. And it's like I'm a huge fan of you. I told her about her Crank Yankers episode. Like, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Wanda. So yeah, she was super cool.
I heard she's super dope. Yo, did you have a Warren Sykes story too, Warren?
Wanda Sykes? No.
All right, somebody. Then I thank God it's not either one of you. I want to share this story real quick before I go to my next person. I can't. I wish I could remember who the person was, but this person thought that he watched Wanda work, and for people out there who are not comics who are listening to us on the podcast, or you guys watching, something comics do for other comics, we will give each other tags. That's something we would do. Especially Warren, being the big brother almighty, will give tags constantly. Deon, I'll hit him up. Deon will give tags, that type of thing. But normally, you do that with comics you feel are on your level. This comic was not on Wanda Sykes' level, and felt he walked up to Wanda after the show. He said, "Hey, Wanda, you did a great job. I wrote some stuff down. Thought you might be able to use these tags." And handed them to her, and she took it from him. She said, "Oh, thank you, baby." Balled it up and threw it on the ground, and just walked away. And I thought that was the coolest and the most cold-blooded way to, because she, not this, motherfucker, who the hell do you think you are? She said, "Oh, thank you, baby." Crumble, crumble. And just walked away. I thought things the best. I remember saying to him, "God damn, what made you think you should give Wanda Sykes tags? Of all the things you could say or do, you could have gave her flowers. You could have did anything. You gave her tags." But I thought that was a good story. All right. My next one is Damon Wayans. Had a chance to work with Damon about a year ago. First headliner ever to say, "Hey, I want to take you." And he took the other comic. I don't want to make it like it was just I. But I want to take you guys to lunch. And he took us to lunch the following day. We met him at the resort he was staying at. Had a nice lunch with he and his manager. And he just
Did you
said,
order the red wine?
and I could have, because he could have paid for it, no problem. But he said, "Hey, this is something new I'm doing when I'm out on the road. I noticed it can probably backfire, but I want to take the younger comics out and just let them ask me questions. So ask me whatever you want to ask me, and I will answer it." And so it was 2.5 hours of sitting with Damon. I dominated the conversation with my questions because, when you're going to get this opportunity again, and just peppered him with as much as I could. Some of the answers I got, I was completely surprised by. Few I did not care for, but overall it was just a great experience. I got a lot of information out of it. So Damon Wayans would be mine.
I wish I'd known. I'd have called you and asked him, hey, ask him why you threw Warren B. Hall off your show that one time.
You did know. You told me, I told you I was working with him. You said, "Don't bring my name up." That's what you told me.
Threw me off the show. But anyway.
All right. Victoria says Miss Pat. All right, that's a good one. Jesse G says, "I met an American Idol finalist once." All right, I'll take that. He said mic drop. So that's like he's dropping a mic on that. Hilarious. Victoria says Sidney Smith and Deon Curry. I was so lucky. That's her number one. I was so lucky to have finally met you in person, especially on such a special day of my life, and I would cherish it forever. Victoria, that is so nice. You know what? Not only I'm gonna put that up on the screen, girl. You deserve that up on the screen. And I'm gonna go ahead and give you an applause break. Let that roll through twice. Anybody out there who don't like it, you can turn this off. But that was so. Gotta go. One more time. One more time. And Victoria, I want you to know why you're up on the screen and why you got two applause breaks, because you put my name before Deon's, and that just means the world to me.
I don't know if you know that or not, Sidney, but in that sentence, you're the opener and I'm the closer.
Nice comeback. But Victoria, still. All right, so. All right. Excuse me. Carlos says, my college choir director was very good friends with the first winner of The Voice, Javier Colon, and he came to sing at a concert once. Monster of a Voice guy was amazing. I was in choir myself, so I dig that story a whole lot. That's an awesome one right there. Good meet. Alice Cooper, Glenn Campbell, Whoopi Goldberg, Stan Lee. What a fucking list.
That's Susie.
Miss Susie. What a list.
Alice Cooper owns a bar in Phoenix. Or he
Say
did.
again? Say again?
Alice Cooper owns a bar in Phoenix.
Yeah. And there's a lot of good charitable work here still, too. Rachel Conrad says Nicolas Cage. Facebook user said, I met Mike Tyson at Pratt Feed Store in Glendale. He was buying pigeons. Biting
Miss
heads
Susie
off
again.
Miss Jesus.
See?
All right. Let's go to our final one, and then we'll roll through the final list for everyone else. Warren, who's your final one? Better not be Michael Jackson.
It's not.
Better not be Prince either.
It's not.
Okay. Who is it?
It's Whitney Houston.
The whole. Get out of here. Go ahead. All right.
She was not nice at all. I met her.
The best story. Go ahead.
Forrest Whitaker, Angela Bassett, and Gregory Hines all on the same day because I was an extra and waiting to exhale.
Okay.
Now, they're doing a scene, and Angela Bassett has to walk past me several times, and she's bumping me. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, I keep up. Nicest lady. Whitney's over here doing the scene. At the end, we're on a break, and I'm talking to some guy. You know how when someone taps you, you try to finish what you're saying real quick? So I'm being tapped. I'm trying to finish my story. I'm tapped again, blah, blah, blah. And then I turn, having never come face-to-face with a diva at this point in my life, total freeze. Total freeze, like the freeze you think you won't freeze, like total lock, just looking at her like, we're here. And she's like, yeah, I need to get by, and I'm not moving. And I'm aware that I'm not moving. I want to move. And then she goes, see that door? I need to get in there. You're in my way. And I was just like, oh, and I moved slightly sideways. And then she went in the room. But I was thinking, of all the times that must have happened to her, she couldn't have said, hey, you're okay. You're okay. I'm not going to hurt you. I just need to get by.
You know what was in that room.
You know what was
You know what was in that room.
Bobby?
No, don't do it. Don't do it, Deon. I know what he's about to do. There he goes. There he goes.
Get out the way.
Move. All right, Deon, what's your number one or your last one, I should say?
My last one is also not a nice story. I met Ashley Judd, and
Oh, really?
she was a bitch of all bitches.
Really?
So excuse me. I used to work at this health food store, and she was married to the NASCAR, or not NASCAR, but race car driver, the Indy 500, which is here in Indianapolis. And they would always come in to get like juice and supplements and that type of stuff. So she comes in one day, and I'm restocking the bins, and I'm like, oh shit, that's Ashley Judd. She comes up to me and she goes, don't tell anybody I'm here. I don't want to be recognized. And it was literally just me and her standing in the aisle. And I look around and I go, tell who what? I was like, I don't care that you're Ashley Judd. And clearly it's just me and you here. So it was one of those things where it was like, bitch, what? like I'm going to run throughout the store. Ashley Judd's over here buying cashews. Like, no. It was like, I was so like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it was one of those things where you just like, bitch.
What store were you in?
Yeah, it was a health food store. It's called Georgetown Market.
I'd have looked at her and
When you
said,
worked there?
I would have told her, pick up that healthy jar of mayonnaise and give me a hand job right here. And your secret is safe with me.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
You
I was
do not
speaking
want to be
dirty to my
jerked off.
wife, and you guys were like,
Yeah,
"That's
you
too
do
much."
not want to be jerked off with organic tahini. Trust me.
Look, okay, well, pick something else that's a little less,
Jesus Christ.
a little less acidic.
See, I see what the scandal is going to be for my partner on the left over here. Gee, Jiminy Christmas.
Sidney found jars of
And then,
mayonnaise.
and then he made me.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Please don't say Miracle Whip again.
Nope.
Like,
Nobody gets
I
made to
can
do.
never
You know
make a
what? I don't.
sandwich.
Listen to my attorney. Let my attorney do all the talking. I'm leaving. You guys
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
hashing this out. All right. Kathleen says Dave Peltzer, author of A Child Called It. She says mine might not be in the order of how important each were, but I've met so many cool people. All right. Okay. Cut the bragging. This is just the incredible Dr. Poe is my neighbor, etc. Okay. All right, Kathleen. Kathleen, you know what's going to happen? We won't be doing any of your mailbag questions for a couple of weeks. That's your punishment for bragging on the show. Rachel said he's a very nice guy, funny. Going back to George Takei. Thank you, Rachel, for sharing that with me. She said, "Ooh, Warren, I'm so jealous. Not sure which one she was jealous on at that time, but take a number. This guy's list was amazing."
Good matches.
Facebook user. Okay, so Carlos says, "I'm in classical vocal music. Everyone knows everyone." LOL. That is so fucking badass, Carlos. Carlos, is there anything on YouTube? Do you have anything that we could share so people could listen to you or go watch you or anything? That is so cool. I like classical music. I would love to hear some of that. Victoria says, honestly, it was so much fun, and he was really nice. I played an extra in the crowd of bull riding scene he did. You can't see me, but my mom and my cousin got a close-up. That is very cool. Very cool. He was nice. That's good to hear. As you heard some of these stories, these guys, everyone's not always nice. Let's see here. Victoria says, Jake's List, Bun B, Fife, Murs, Deon Curry, Sidney Smith, Miss Pat, Ghostface, Little Keek. You know what? I enjoy being right in the middle of that. And Jake, I want you to know that yours isn't up there because Deon's name is ahead of mine. So that's why yours was stepped to the side. Be happy I read it, Jake. Be happy I even read it.
So petty.
Victoria says, oh yeah, and I met DMX. I had a shot with him. Oh wow, that's really cool. Really cool. I would have loved to have got a chance to meet him.
Hey, yo, bitch, want another shot?
This guy. Said Deon the closer. That's why you got ignored. Jesse G.
Miss Susie again. Stop ignoring our Patreon members.
Jesse, just because you're a Patreon doesn't mean you get treated special. All right. Jesse G says, "Oh my God, I'm legit super jealous. Congratulations." Jesse G also said, "Why did Ashley even tell you she was there if she didn't want to be recognized? Because she wanted to be recognized." Deon wasn't giving her the right reaction.
I didn't give two shits.
Victoria says coconut oil. Thank you, Victoria. Coconut, that's what I would tell her to grab. Tony Mack says no condiments are safe at Sydney's house. Shut up, Tony. So,
all I got is relish. Will that do? I'm going to relish this opportunity.
Don't deprive me of this.
All right. My last one is Miss Pat. And it is Miss Pat. If you notice from my list kind of, except for Michael Phelps, my list included people who have done something for me or touched me in a certain way, who have learned things or so on and so forth.
Touched you in a certain way.
You guys are stupid.
I was going to let it go.
Without Miss Pat, I do not, well, I shouldn't say that. I got into my first major club because of Miss Pat. Miss Pat was here, Deon, fuck, how long ago was that now?
5 years ago. Almost 6.
I won't say closer to 6, I
Probably
think.
6 now.
But Miss Pat was here with Deon, and they were working at the House of Comedy. I had not gotten into any clubs at that point. I've been doing comedy for quite some time, but anyone who's in comedy knows it takes a minute to get into the clubs, and there's all different kind of ways to get into it. But I went up there to watch the show, met Deon, became friends with Deon, got to talking with Miss Pat, and And one thing I had learned from my mentors is you don't just show up with your hand out looking for something. You show up wanting to support, have a good conversation, hopefully so on and so forth. Whatever it was, Miss Pat said, hey, you want to do some time? Sure. Did the guest spot. She liked me enough, said, come back every night. You can do a guest spot every night. She let me guest spot every night that she was here, which was so cool to me. But then when one of the owners, Tammy, was in town, she made sure and told Tammy, you got to watch this kid. He's fucking funny. Tammy watched me. From there, Tammy said, you want your own show? I said, absolutely. She let me have my own show. She says, and I want you on the books. Told management to get me on. Management did whatever they did. I wasn't on the books. By the time Tammy got back, Tammy said, Sidney, do you have any dates yet? I said, nope. She looked right at the manager at the time. I want him on the calendar. I was on the calendar the very next day. None of that happens. And then from there, I have a successful show that gets me from there to where I'm at now with the clubs. And so the contacts I've been able to meet, the friends I've been able to make. But none of that happens without Miss Pat, for whatever reason, just saying, hey, you want to do some time. So I will forever be grateful to Miss Pat for that. And that is why she is on my list. And no matter what, I will always have some type of love for Miss Pat because of that. And I will root her on from a distance. So I know she doesn't watch or listen to this show. But just in case ever, thank you very much, Miss Pat. I very much do appreciate you. All right.
Did you want the honorable mentions, or you want me to save them for another time?
Let's do one honorable mention. Let's go around real quick for one honorable mention. What you got?
One.
Well, I know you got 3 of them.
One, 2, 3, 4. I got 5. Oh.
Okay. just
a
give us
whole
all
nother
5.
list.
Give us all 5 of them, bro. Just give us all 5.
Okay.
This guy.
Anderson Cooper.
Okay.
Was really cool.
Okay.
Tony Mack. I don't know if you guys know him. Johnny Knoxville. And it was funny only because Johnny was like, I was like, can I take a picture with you? And he's like, I go, if you don't want me to, just be quick. I go, okay. And Reba took the picture. And the time I was like, thank you. I turn around, there's a sea of people with their cameras out, and he had that look like, God damn you. I was like, I'm so sorry. But he was nice. Tommy Davidson and the late, great John Witherspoon. Your story about Wanda Sykes sharing her food reminded me, because he talks exactly like he does in the movies, like if you saw Friday and whatnot. He was on the radio and talked about how he likes ribs. So some woman owned a place and catered him and brought him some ribs. And remember, they're like, hey, some woman on the radio heard you. She brought you ribs. He goes, I ain't going to no ribs. I don't know this lady. I'm not going to ribs. And he opens it up. He goes, you look good. Warren, come over here, eat these ribs with me. And then we ate the ribs, and he was telling tales, and I was just eating. Like, that's when I learned that Paul Mooney was gay.
All right. Okay. Way to end the
John
Sesame Street
Witherspoon
episode.
Witherspoon told me.
Deon, do you have one honorable mention, or are you good?
I've got a couple. I met Isaac Hayes because he clogged the bathroom at the place I worked, which is Georgetown Market. The worst smelling shit I've ever smelled in my life.
The clogged ones normally are.
I was like, God damn, what have you been eating? He died 3 years after that, so something wasn't right. And I met Bill Burr. Bill was super
That'd
cool.
be cool.
Super nice. He has
Jealous of
the
that.
softest hands of any person I have ever shook in my entire life.
He said
When
that.
He'd fight you
when I-
if he knew you said that.
When I shook his hand, I part of me was like, no. That was way too soft. Just this man moisturizes and uses lotion that no man, as funny as he is, should have hands as
Made from
soft
baby
as his.
tears.
But just goodness gracious. He had a killer set. He was really, really funny. And
Of course he
then,
did.
I was the last person in line to get pictures and whatnot because I wanted to be able to talk to him. And we talked for like 10 minutes. I took a picture with him, shook hands, and I was just like, oh, holy shit. You need to make a joke about this. Your hands are way too far. I go, I was not expecting that. He
Very
goes,
cool.
is that a compliment? I go, I'm not trying to disrespect you. I just wasn't expecting your hands to be that fucking soft.
Very, very cool. Andrea Reed for me and Russell Peters. I got more, but I'll leave it there. I won't share any stories because we've gone on for some time. I will get to these last comments here. Rachel Carver says, touch you with coconut oil. Miss Pat is so awesome. That's from Kathleen K. Rachel Conrad says, Warren B. Hall is my famous friend. Victoria says, Warren B. Hall, no, I want to meet him. Talking about your Johnny Knoxville, I believe. Says, Sidney, turn his camera off. And I must do as the beautiful Victoria says, and go
Whose
ahead.
camera?
That would be you. So,
For why? Oh, for Johnny Knoxville?
so the rest of the show will be done without
I
everyone
thought
seeing
she
Warren.
wanted to meet Warren. That's
That's not what
how
she's.
I
No,
read it.
no.
That's how I took it.
That
That's
was-
oh, Warren B. Hall, I want to meet him.
That's because you're a narcissist.
coming from you.
Oops. Someone just asked me to cut Deon's camera. Deon's gone.
Our
All right.
podcast listeners won't get that, but
Tony Mack says Bill Burr uses that mayonnaise. He was trying to have Ashley Judd use. Kathy says honorable mentions. I've met several NFL players. Okay. Once I tutored before he was an NFL plays for the Steelers. All right. Jesse G says pot kettle. Jesse. And then Carlos, I assume, says honorable mention. My school pisses out NHL players like their water, so I've probably met some. Very cool. Thank all you guys for sharing your stories and the famous people that you've met. Let's go to our wait one more thing, and let's try to get through it, guys. Go ahead, Warren. You first, sir.
This week's wait, one more thing is for yourself. Take your time. Sometimes people are going to bother you, or they're going to make you mad, or something's not going to go right. And people always want you to talk to them on their schedule. They want to know right now what's going on, what's the problem. And if you need to take your time, I commend you for saying that. Take your time. But on the other side of that, if you tell people I'll talk when I'm ready to talk, you got to come back to the table. You got to remember to tell these people what's going on in your life so that they know, hopefully not to do it again, so that you're not in the same place you were before, or maybe it was just a mistake. But if you say, hey, I'll talk when I'm ready to talk, come back. Talk. You said you were going to talk when you're ready to talk, so do that. So again, it's 2 points. Take your time. Definitely take your time, because sometimes it takes you a minute to get your words right. Sometimes you want to get your head right. Sometimes you want to check yourself.
You only get one wait, one more thing.
That was it. They're connected.
I'm just messing with you. Go ahead, yeah.
my wait one more thing is just came to me after doing this show. It's know the people around you. I had no idea you guys were so rapey and so creepy.
Shut up.
I married that woman.
We're going to Jamaica after the show. No. No, seriously though, know the people around you. Know who you surround yourself with. If things are happening in your life where things seem off or things aren't going your way, it might be the people that you surround yourself with don't have your best interests at heart. So keep a close eye on the people you consider close to you, because not everybody that says they're for you is actually for you. So just be aware, be mindful. People can smile in your face all day long, but the second they get a chance to screw you, they take it. So just be mindful of that, and have a circle, but be aware of who you let in that circle.
Mine is real easy. I was talking with someone, a friend of mine over dinner here a few days ago. I was kind of describing to you guys about the night, but he gave me some advice. We're having a good conversation, but he said, limit your risk. And he said you can do that in the most basic ways, as just where do you entertain yourself outside of your home? Don't put yourself in a position, because you know who you are. Again, being self-aware. Why put yourself in a destination where anything could happen and put you in a situation where now you have to react, and now you've ruined possibly some good things that were coming down the road, or some things that you're working on. You could be ruining your marriage, anything. So limit your risk. It's not only just limiting your risk in terms of where you're hanging out. Limit your risk in terms of people you're hanging out with. Limit your risk in the decisions that you're making on what class you're going to take. Limit your risk on what business opportunity. There's different ways. But he said that is one key to being successful, is limiting your risk. And I thought it was such a easy thing to do, and a cool idea, a cool concept, that I got to share it with you guys come next show. So limit your risk. Let's see here. Anything else here? Victoria says, I would love to meet Warren B. Hall too, and Bill Burr and Adam Sandler. All right, very cool. We'll see if we can at least make the Warren B. Hall happen. So we'll see if we can do that at least. Thank you guys very much for watching the show. We appreciate you. Again, apologize for the lateness of it. We had technical issues on my end. Hopefully, I got that all worked out. It seems like things are much better today than they have been in quite some time. So,
And
hopefully,
thanks,
it's all
Rachel
worked out.
Conrad, for coming in and participating. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Okay, yes, thank you, Rachel. We appreciate you, as well as everyone else for jumping in here and joining us. Thank you for all of the hearts and the thumbs up and the crying emojis and everything that you guys did too. We're going to be doing one of these very soon out into the world for public on Facebook, but we'll give you guys a heads up on that beforehand. Night to you as well. Sweet dreams to you as well, Jesse G. You guys got anything for the people before we get out of here?
No, I'm feeling good though. I'm feeling good about you guys. I'm feeling good about the community. Just feel good.
All right, excellent.
I just want to say thank you to everybody that watched today. Happy birthday to you, Jessica, and happy birthday to you, Victoria. I'm gonna wish you happy birthday on your birthdays, but I just want to say on the show, happy birthday. We appreciate you guys being a part of Now That's Debatable.
Absolutely. Kathleen says, have a great rest of the week, everyone. You as well, Kathleen. Until next Monday, I promise it's going to be Monday. We'll see you guys then. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Thank you.